I never saw a wild thing sorry for itself. A small bird will drop frozen dead from a bough without ever feeling sorry for itself. That is a poem called Self Pity by D.H. Lawrence, and this is the Inspired Poetry Corner. Welcome, 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 ladies and gentlemen. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I hope you're doing well. It is a beautiful Sunday morning here in Toronto. It's cold, it's sunny. I hope it's well wherever you are. I hope you're warm and comfortable. You have your favorite beverage at hand, and you're here to enjoy some poetry and some artistry and just some fellowship as we gather on the third Sunday of every month to celebrate life and to celebrate poetry and to practice the Inspired Poetry Corner's kind of Sunday kind of love, to steal from my friend Etta James. It is a Sunday kind of love. Just so you know, the Inspired Poetry Corner, as I said, is the third Sunday of every month. It is not an open mic. The poets that are here to recite, they're here, number one, to support the feature. And then there's about 15 of you that's on the list that will have up to, excuse me, up to 5 minutes to do your thing. The people that I affectionately call the not ready for primetime poets. You all primetime is just a nice play on word. I always feel like you need to explain it, but I love when people ask me, where did that come from? Because I stole it from Saturday Night Live when Saturday Night Live was still funny in my estimation, and they used to have the not ready for primetime players. So that's what that is. Anyway, fasten your seatbelt. We'll be flying at an altitude of 35,000 feet. The crew will be around to tuck you in, to offer you beverages, and to make sure your stay on the flight is pleasurable. So fasten up. Let's have fun because we have an amazing feature. I'm really looking forward to hearing this young woman because I have not heard her voice in a very long time. I think last time was probably back when I was at Nuyorican Cafe, I believe. So, and that's where I first heard her. So, really looking forward to this. But before we do that, how are you guys doing? How are you showing up? Are you good? Are you feeling joy? Are you feeling happy? Yeah. Where's the smiley faces? Come on. We're above ground. We're above ground. Because if we weren't, we'd be having a whole different conversation. Anyway, I hope you're doing well. Like I said, I'm not a comedian. I just think I'm funny. So, but really enjoy, really enjoy. It's really good to have you here. And as I was saying earlier, when Ian came on, it's December. When did the year just fly by? It seemed like we just started in January with Guinevere, and now here we are at the end of 2024. I hope it was a successful year. I hope you are excited and looking forward to the times to come. I believe, like everyone else, the most important time is the moment, is the now. But it's also good from time to time to be able to step back into the past and to reflect and to learn. Not to step back with fear and guilt and shame, but to step back with the curiosity of how else can I look at what has happened? Just as it's important to step into the future and spend time and look at possibilities and then be here, right? But people always say, you're living in the past and the future. Well, you can only access the past and the future through the now. So technically, you're always in the now. So don't be afraid to examine those two fears. Just know where you live. So anyway, enough preaching for today. Let's get into this. Hope you're ready. Hope you're ready to have fun and enjoy. For the most part, keep yourselves unmuted. I know most of you play very well in the Zoom rooms. You know how this goes. We're all adults here. I don't like to put any sort of restrictions on artists. I believe that I trust the adults in the room. This is a place where we gather, where it is safe for you to say what you want, but also remember you have a responsibility to others. We do not live on this planet by ourselves. This is why I do not have absolute freedoms of anything. I have responsibilities to my freedoms because I live with other on this planet. If it was just me, I can do what the hell I want. And I'd have this show and there'd be no one. So I much rather live with others and know that the freedoms that I have, they have as well. And it's to be respectful of each other, even when we disagree. And that's one of the things I love about our community. We can be disagree, but still be respectful for the most part. In the 4 or 5 years I've been involved in these Zoom communities, I've rarely run into people, at least in my shows, that don't practice respect with each other. So I'm grateful for you being here today, spending some time with us on a Sunday, or in some parts of the world, it's Monday morning for some of you. So I'm going to turn off my Facebook in a minute because I think who is here is meant to be here is here now. So, all right, that's what's going on. So let's get into this. Today we have the pleasure of featuring, and when I say we, the Inspired Poetry Corner, myself, Miss Angie, and our new admin, Artemis. We have the pleasure of welcoming an artist who resides in Northern California. As an East Bay area native with a mixed ethnic background, she uses various forms of art through music, writing, poetry, and spoken word as a platform to mention topics she feels should be a part of everyday conversation. She's always been an educator at heart. She hosted her first workshop with Moroccan Poets, where she realized how well-rounded a poet she could be. She performed in many venues, including Nuyorican Poets Cafe and local open mics around the East Bay. She was a featured poet in A Time to Arrive, and even showcased in an AAPI celebration with many poets and storytellers. She was also part of an all-woman international consortium called Tesoro. I hope I'm saying that correctly. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, like I said, it's been a while since I've heard her words, since I've had a chance to sample her energies, and I'm really, really excited to welcome this amazing poet, BeeYonka, to the Inspired Poetry Corner, and as our feature for the month of December. Ladies and gentlemen, BeeYonka.
Hey, everybody. Good morning, afternoon, and evening, wherever you guys are at in the world. You could be anywhere in the world, and you guys are here with us. So, what a way to end the year with fellow creatives like yourselves. This first poem I am going to be spitting is entitled Yonka, which is the second half of my name, and it's a loose play on a necrotic poem. And it's just currently the things that are in my mind right now. If Raw could screen share, if you're able to, that would be awesome. Um, let's see. All right. Is it up? Yeah, no. Sorry, I can't see it on my end. Beautiful stuff. Awesome. Thank you so much. All right. Without further ado, here is Yonka. Yapper with thoughts that go yonder. Only for the ones that I trust, naive and native, keen and kind, actively seeking my truth. Yearning for a love I can only get from none other than kings who carry the weight of the world on their soul, and crowns aren't seen as royalty, but crutches for the heavy-hearted. Yet, obsidian versus onyx, they both protect darkness from darkness. Not even the empty abyss can save my mind from killing the heart in me. And when my mind is provoked, my heart crumbles. Yearnings to learnings become fantasies, become reality, become hard truths, become lies. Opportunity seized when I seizure from things I never thought would shake me. Nothing hurts more than knowing phrases are meant to metamorphosize through phases my soul and detach my entirety from this cage I call home, this cocoon I call my own, knotted by knowledge. Animosity is animalistic, and that doesn't live here no more. Young and youthful, outlandish or outrageous, never needing a shoulder to cry on, but it takes an arm and a leg to invest in anything that has to do with my spirit, that jumping to conclusions is really limping to results, and that seems risky. Knowing and understanding are levels of madness, attributing to goals that were never set, so we hope on wishes instead of praying for good graces. Yawning means I'm tired of being tired, of all the things I've done right but will still be done wrong by others. Never knowing and never thinking of tomorrow because I barely survived today. Kill me with anything but kindness and avenge my soul in the ethers. You almost had me, occupied with delusions of better days with you in it, of all the things that you could do for me. Needing you as my rib, and I really needed my spine to become the backbone and foundation for my heavy heart, knives and daggers licked clean by dull tongues I know too well because I was never given love from a silver spoon, so the complexities of my taste buds can only decipher lust and loss before it can swallow pride and ego with its wholesome flavor alone again, but never lonely. But it never meant I ain't angry with the anguish this split tongue lover girl in me, dying a stingy death, grieving and groveling with her head held high, but her hope for romance higher. You are the reason why I lift my soul to the stars with such pride, oscillating with my eyes open, gazing at the sky in hopes the pendulum swings in my favor. Now I know this might sound crazy, but knowing that no matter what happens to the world and me, I hope it won't ever shatter the world in you. For the rivers and valleys we share are bridges of our truth to both our universes, and if all else fails, at least we can say our planets were in orbit at least once in this lifetime. Yonder with the moons, open to the sun, night turns to daylight, kinetic energy can fill rooms, anything can happen. It can even happen all too soon. Poem. Thank you, thank you.
So
Sorry,
my
Law.
my sister's just standing here waiting because our hot water is gone. But she had no choice but to hear that. And as soon as you're done, she went, "Wow."
Oh, awesome. Thank you so much.
Hmm.
Um, this next piece is an intro to my dedication to love. I feel like the older I get, the more multifaceted it becomes. Yeah. So this is a piece that I created that will kind of be the story and the threading line to how this journey of love is going to be for me. Um, so this is entitled 15 Lost Objects. One, I would like to find my sanity. I misplaced it about 6 years ago when I fell in love with the idea of love, and no, it wasn't even for myself. Two, I misplaced my sanity and then called it guilt. Three, to this day, I still feel like this guilt eats away at me and I'm playing keep away from my own soul. Four, I lost my soul in many things. And to others, it's called passion. To me, it's self-discovery. Maybe I like this version of me and maybe it won't be so hollow. I hate being a vessel that only shells love. Five, I hate who I am when I love. Six, I lose myself in the shallow conversations because I'm afraid to dive into the deep end and tread in another ocean of lies and call it an island. Seven, I hate being stranded and alone. Eight, yet I battle survival's guilt because I chose to stay. Nine, I told you love lost causes strays. 10, if you find my heart along lost alleyways filled with distress and tears, please return it to the address that's been carved on the back by men who never wanted it to begin with. It's the same address where peace lives and humanity is embraced. For love made me insane enough to find tranquility in it. 11. That's funny. I like to say I found peace, but I think it may just be loneliness disguising itself as serenity. 12. How can you lose something you never even had? Maybe it's basic human privilege. 13, to assume something can be yours to lose to begin with means you'd have to own it first, to call it your own. But how can that be? 14, when my love was never mine and neither was my body. 15, just a soul that is never soulless, but filled with so much spirit, you'd think being haunted is a blessing. Poem. Um, thank you. This next one is a play on words. It's entitled The Right Words, and it was inspired by a Rudy Francisco poem on the different types of poem he would want to write this person. So if this piece brings you peace, I just hope that it rests your soul. I want to say all the shit that doesn't leave my mouth. I want to say all the shit that won't ever make it to your ears because the pages bound to my notebook are holding my words hostage from you, your thoughts, your lips, your soul. I want to speak, but all I do is write, hoping somehow my poems get mailed to you, but I can't seem to get myself to stamp my approval on every lingering thought, so I just managed to write about how none of this is getting to you instead. I want to write you a poem. I want to write you a letter of affirmation that even though we don't align, being in the same orbit is kind of ideal type poem. I want to write I can see what you're feeling, but you're so out of reach. Your sense of touch isn't getting to my sense of self, but as long as I'm in your peripheral, you'll be okay, I promise type of poem. I want to write my heart's too big, so I'm offering it to all the parts you hate about yourself type poem. I want to write a damn. I just want to sit here with you in silence because our words take up too much space anyways, that I just want to enjoy you in the simplest form type poem. I want to write that he's so fine, I just want to cuddle and stare at the stars while R&B is playing in the background, and I feel like I'm in a music video where I get to be happy in the end type poem. I want to write about the shit I actually want to talk about. I want to write and talk about love to the person I love. I want you to speak about your scars and why it hurts more when they fade. I want you to talk about your healing with me. I want to talk about the victories I thought I couldn't win and the losses I thought I'd die from. I want to speak about battles I didn't know I was fighting, but praying I don't lose sight of me and mine. I want to talk about education and how our youth deserves justice in ways we will never be able to reach. I want to talk about how nobody talks about mental health or genocide or wars unless it's a glamorized month or on the news for longer than 30 minutes. I want to write about love like it's the sweetest thing to ever be written, that the world around us turns into Candyland as soon as my ink hits paper. I want to write about me being a fixer and how I like to assume everything around us is broken. I want to write about the unspoken. I want to write aimlessly, like my words are really this holy. I want to write like my words are no longer being held captive by my tongue, who's too scared of what my mouth might do once my ears hear the truth. I want to write like my bars are meant to be studied by scholars who were doubted by society. I want to be idolized from the ink that touched paper, not the person who wrote it. I want every beautiful feminine creature roaming this earth right now to understand that I tried. I really did. I want to be thanked by men who felt like their stigmatized mental health don't exist because society said so, but thrives when they read my shit. I pray that when I die, my words linger like lyrics from your favorite song and you smile like the sun was created just for you. I only wish to never be forgotten. We're lost. I refuse to think that I was just made to exist when every ounce of my being creates a story, a narrative. I'm here as a book that's tailored for those who live beyond their thoughts and emotions. I want to write about everything I want to be. See, I don't share my mind too often, but this is that free your mind type poem. Poetry allowed me to live beyond what I dreamed of. Poetry will allow me to die with my soul on my sleeve. So if you ever, and if you never, saw me in my notebook coming, I'll make sure you'll read and grieve when I leave. Poem. Thank you, thank you. This next poem is entitled Love is a Battlefield, which is, I feel like, is self-explanatory. It's actually inspired by a collab that CP did with Jackson. So shout out to my brother CP. Thank you for just being so dope. So I compared narcissistic love to being at war. And sometimes when it's not with that person, it's really with yourself, right? So here's Love is a Battlefield. Love can be so beautiful. Look out, it's a narcissist and they're throwing a love bomb your way. Three, two, one. I'm not sure if this is a coy compliment or beautiful banter. To build me up, tear my walls down, then leave me in ruins. It's like I gave you a manual on how to pull the trigger beneath me. My world revolves around you. You're just the bottom of the barrel. I lust over what I hear. Ears ringing, mind confused, gut piercing, earth shattering, wounds healing, heavy breathing as words spill out their mouths like sacred scripture. With tongues like Judas, I wonder if this is yet another distraction, a decoy. I wonder how long it took for them to set the fuse. I wonder what the ratio is between gunpowder to gaslighting. It's like the chemistry's never off. I wonder how long it took for them to pull the pin to my PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder, really just stands for praying that shit dies before I do. I never asked to go to war, yet love always drafts me. And before I realize this weapon I hold is a four-chambered rifle, every bullet drains the warrior in me, a kiss goodbye to all the parts of me that are left mangled and merciful. I swear to you, it wasn't always like this, right? Fuck. Here comes another love bomb. Three, two, one. The subtle sexiness in your voice melts me. Are you for real? You've never had no one do you like me before? Damn, it's like you know me so well that I'm a stranger to myself. It's like I'm not sure what the inside of my heart looks like anymore. I thought I could be solved like a jigsaw puzzle, but it turns out I'm hollow and gutted because my heart is built like a minefield. Every explosion is hidden. Even I don't know who to love or where it belongs, but they say love is a battlefield. Let it be a war that I win. Let it be a fight to the end where the flag I raise up is one that turns into a canopy that shelters my spirit, that turns into a veil that carries me home, that morphed into a hammock and coddles me in the warm breeze in the middle of nowhere that becomes a blanket. To keep me cozy at night, let it be a flag that doesn't say I surrender, but that I survived. All the parts of you that tried to kill me inside, let the flag be a love note to my skeleton, for it's the only structure I need. I'm no longer letting you hold me as a prisoner of war. See, before you'd take my skeleton and grind my bones into powder, then you'd get high off my fault lines that I had to convince my shadow I was worth following. I was a fallen soldier, used as a shield for your love that will never be for me. Killed the woman in me so the boy in you can thrive the way my love was stripped and stolen, ready to be taken home in a box of secrets revealed. See, most people have no idea that tragedy and silence have the same address. But tell me how blessed we are to have tragedy so small it can fit on the tips of our tongues, intertwined with words I'll never say, because for once, my decayed heart hurts from beating so hard that it forgot how many deaths I've outlived. Poem. Thank you, everybody. Um, and then it was actually a really long poem that I ended up cutting in half. So Love is a Battlefield ended up inspiring this next poem, which is Proceed with Caution, which is kind of the aftermath of people that have survived narcissistic love and have recognized those traits in people. So this one is entitled Proceed with Caution. I was always someone's confusion, someone's gift to give me a bad intuition. I was always someone's lust, pride, escape, shoulder, and strength. I was never the love of someone's life that went to great lengths. I was always someone's sweet hello while they were my most sour goodbyes. Even the see you laters never turned a blind eye. Now, who would have thought? To be someone's love would take me to great heights, to share the same soul, to feel just right. A bond so secure, a hold so tight, if only someone can just stay and fight. For once, I want to be mornings with the sun instead of just moons with the night. To handle me with such care would be the bravest thing anyone has ever done. The fragility of my soul with passion, like the heat from the sun, to grab my hand with intention instead of teaching me to never run. And if you can hold me without hurting me, you'll be the first who ever did. To care for me with grace and caution instead of chasing me, then treating me like an option. Thank you. For my love isn't meant to be auctioned off. I can't remember the last time I wasn't so tough. See, love mixed with life itself can be so rough. I only know how to exist when I wanted because being human left my soul haunted. Now you must know everything I let go of has claw marks on it. The way I fought and I fought, instead of saying it is what it is, I always took the hit. And I know I must grow, so when your radiance matches my glow and we immediately flow, I catch myself in slow motion. I'm moving so effortlessly, so beautifully loving and learning, but who knew? To die with the love in your heart can sometimes feel like you're falling apart, and falling can sometimes feel like flying, and failing can sometimes feel like winning. I'm spinning and spiraling. If only you knew the way my the way my butterflies flew when you walked into the room. Then maybe, but only maybe, you're made for just me. Then maybe, but only maybe, we can finally just be alone, but together. But if it's forever, please do me this simple favor. Love me like my smell is your favorite flavor, and my touch is only yours to savor. For every moment we share is ours to embrace and care. For every moment we have is only ours, no more looking back. For every word that's spoken will be another promise that won't be broken, because if this is the truest thing to ever exist, and I finally get to experience it, let it be an ode to all the strong parts of me. Because to love me this hard meant you loved my scars, and if you can see me hurt, then you can feel me healed. See, I don't know much about love. I just know all the bad things it does. The loss, the trauma, all of the above. But if I ever see the good parts, please understand my heart. For everything I do know, I didn't learn from the start. Like how conversational flow shouldn't feel like a show, and how safe you feel because everything about this moment is surreal. Please understand how much violence it took to be this gentle. I guess I finally learned about my own potential. It's strange, isn't it? To be so full of love and still be so empty. Lovers of pure, lovers of plenty, yet we give away our hearts so carelessly. So if you must love me partly. For my love is scarce and in fragments. So if you must love me lightly. For my love is heavy and heavy with abundance. So if you must love me, please, please really love me. For my love is for you and you only. Poem. Um, This next piece actually won me my very first slam. I've only competed once. So I'm guessing it was luck, but a lot of people were like, nah, it's the piece. So to kind of wrap up this narrative of how I view love and the multifaceted things it offers us as humans, this one is entitled Lovesick. Love conquers all. Love conquers me. Love conquers us. But does love really conquer all? Can it cover up crevices of darkness peeking through, trying to digest the light it wasn't meant for? Can love show me ways to get to where I'm supposed to go, besides through pain and healing first? The space my body takes up is a bridge, filling the gap between a rock and a hard place. Only concrete thoughts are welcomed here. Because I'm tired of floating and then sinking and then gasping for air. Love is finicky, like a fish out of water, baited by promises and trapped by vows, pulsating in a bucket filled with hope, like it kept trying to catch itself. Love creates laughter and sadness. It's a wild card of wisdom. It gives us a deck of cards we never know how to deal. Love conquers any conversation. But we never know if it's showing us shadows painted on illuminated walls, or if it's a bloodline baited with broken promises. See, love can be as deep as the ocean, but seems to only thrive in shallow waters, enough to see from the surface, drowning growth and washing away impurities of the conquered. Like how the conquistadores loved on my people, so now we carry crucifixes of their names on the backs of our native tongue that now speaks of blended love, tongue twisted with confusion, tornadoes of troubled truth. And although I know it's tradition to forget, the memory of pain is embedded into my spine because my body carries the stories of my ancestors. So when it rains, it pours, and when it rains, my ancestors weep, weeping woefully as love conquers the corners of my mind, connoisseurs of the cerebral cortex that composes our consciousness, interlocking with hook, line, and sinker. I'm sinking, I'm floating, I'm gasping for air, but everyone stares like I've just reached the bottom of the fish tank. Love has put me in a spectator sport. Everyone stares like love can be fluid, as if love can't run through us. Only away from us, love conquers water. The tides offering the gifts we think we need until it drowns us in tsunami sorrows. So when we talk about it, we can laugh until breathing becomes a gift, or how love conquers women through social media, instant gratification, only to lure them into a world full of trauma and left with cadavers of regret at the hands of men who had no intention of giving their hearts away, so they took hers instead. The love we embody always takes somebody. But this is the love I know. This is how I remember it. The way a fish is still a fish even after it's been gutted. And do you think the fish forgave you? See, love can conquer anything. It can conquer your heart like a cancer, eating away until you're nothing left but a vessel of your mistakes disguising themselves as something beautiful. That kintsugi type of love, like shattered but lacquered with gold to highlight how love could murder you into living. See, love conquers your mind. Love tricks you into thinking that maybe, but just maybe, you can sleep on a heavy heart, anchoring you to the ocean floor, swimming with the world's wonders, wondering if you'll ever be good enough. So I guess what I'm asking you is, does love really conquer all? Because I love thee with a love I seem to lose. Poem. This very last one doesn't have anything to do with love, but it was the first poem I've ever written where I felt like the trajectory of where I want my poetry to be is eventually competitive. It was the first piece I ever memorized, and it was about my depression and anxiety. So here is Risen. I hate feeling like I'm never enough. So I write words on paper, hoping the ink in my pen can cure me. After all, I'm just bittersweet poetry. I became everything I fear, so now I'm fearless. The poetry that revealed itself as a wet stain on my notebook is just a reminder that this is simply all the love I could never give myself in putting it to good use. Yet, just when I thought I conquered that anxiety in me like an angry deity, a spark of lightning crashes onto my life course, giving me every single color in the rainbow, but without the glow. This only happens when I challenge my synapses like my neurons don't understand why they're always strung out. Like why I can revert back to addictions that I shadow as old habits. Like why I hold myself to a standard I stay choking at because the noose is my good place. I can always smile the biggest because the hurt inside of me is a gaping hole that has a gravitational pull on everything I try to hold on to, so I resort to thinking. If I can cut myself down at every instant with the sharpest razor blades, then maybe my highs can just be mids and gravity won't hurt as much because I too have a tendency to destroy whatever helps me get off the ground between every how are you today's and I'm fine, but I don't think I'll ever be okay. It's another mnemonic phrase I associate with between the length of my smile to the length of my broken heart, and I say broken because shattered sounds too winded. Shattered sounds like me taking fragments of my heart and using them against myself. Shattered sounds like shards of false loyalty piercing my skin again as a reminder that I only know how to befriend people that walk around like they are weapons of mass destruction. I gargle the tears that run down my face so frequently. Saltwater streams create crevices only they can navigate through until they reach my holy grail of a mouth that puddles all of the drenched and damp doubts my desperation till my depression again. As my liquid soul finally drains itself out of me, I let out a dry sigh of relief. I drop my burden like a rusted ball and chain, trying to anchor my body into another ocean, only for me to realize being an island doesn't mean you have to drown first, or even ever. The dingy despair of my feelings smell like laundry I just never got around to, or a wrung out towel that's been taken from a bathtub filled with waterlogged wounds and sat out in the sun for far too long. It's now become a stale, stained, mediocre savior and a cluttered bedroom. I carved pathways out of that imitate the mazes in my mind. I'm amazed how my mind can still work so vigorously. My emotions smell like wood chips from sharpening endless amounts of pencils that keep me writing with sweaty fists, and how the rubber constantly erasing the nuances of my existence can feel like I smeared my blood on every page to remind myself that everything beautiful has a consequence. Exhausted, but not extinguished. The subtleties that life breathes into me that barely escape the battered and bruised. The untying of the noose, the drawer that keeps away all of the sharp things reminds me that I have died a million times. It is reminding myself that if someone or anyone can love a dying thing this way, then maybe my anguish is the most beautiful tarnished, a wounded warrior, the phoenix that had to burn first to feel the most alive. poem. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, thank you.
I'm just shaking my head. I mean, I knew you were amazing, but damn. Um, it's my show, so my prerogative. Can you do one more? An encore? Do you have one you can give?
Yeah. This
Please.
piece was
I don't
actually
think anyone
inspired.
here would mind you doing one more.
Awesome. Okay, well, this piece is titled POC, and it was actually inspired by La Bruja's WTC, the World Trade Center poem that she actually debuted on Def Poetry Jam. Um, so it was directly inspired by that, and I actually debuted this at the AAPI event that I was a part of this year. She's a storyteller that has two tongues, a mouth that houses a double helix lingua, a velvet organ that is fluent about struggle but will speak all the good parts because she's afraid her stories will leave her lonely. She's a lonely storyteller, that's what she tells herself. She upkeeps this narrative because her life is now a folk tale. Her whispers sound like tall tales, only because she never has witnesses. Now, she lives to tell soil stories rooted from anguish from the tongues of wounded warriors. This is what it's like to chase your dreams. How you get the shakes like life is the biggest withdrawal you'll ever experience. The uncertainties, the adversities of being a poet brings you can sometimes bring you to your knees, hands intertwined, eyes shut. Shh. Me and the universe are still talking. I found out dreams come true if you let yourself still believe them after you wake up. I just want to be the one in my family to actually create the career I've always wanted, instead of climbing this corporate ladder that wasn't ever made for me anyways. This is what assimilation looks like. How my name is the whitest thing about me. Like BeeYonka can't also mean purity. But why white gotta mean I'm pure? Why white gotta mean I'm cleansed? Like colonizers aren't tired yet. Like colonizers would ever get tired. Trying to silence the loudest whispers, hardest workers, job takers, immigrant farmers. This is what brown noise really sounds like. Kumain ka na. Magpahinga ka muna. Sige na, may gagawin pa ako. Hardest workers in the room are the last to eat. It's like a reward to know everyone can have a full belly twice over, that being hungry doesn't even phase the sense of completion you feel. Job takers will sleep when they're dead. That's how you know you've lived a good life. A life that you survived all odds, even if you couldn't survive long enough to see how much your labor has affected me. Farming the seed it took forever for you to plant, rooted with cause and direction like the sun showed me the way. Silence becomes my silver lining. Now my belly aches with words you've never said. My savior, my lullaby. Brown noise sounds the best when I lay my head to rest. This is what being cultured be like. A token hire, a demographic representative, a statistical stereotype, a benevolent citizen, a remorseful person, a mathlete, a submissive fantasy. Now ain't that some shit? Ain't that some motherfucking shit? POC. Pause over cause. People over conflict. Power over conflict. People of color. Planning our coalition. Products of colonialism. Passports. Opportunities. Citizenship. Peace over conquest. Pride over our culture. Politically opposite of correct. Presides over crisis. Protect our children. Provide our communities with places of camaraderie. Press-ons and chains. Popping our collars. Playing craps on the corner, pools of conversation, player hating over change, pleading over calamity, preparing our children for prison pipelines over community colleges, police protocol over changing communities, protecting and pretending our country's objectively perfect, prosecutions over careers, catastrophe over pedagogy, planes of certainty crashing onto places of caution, panic over calmness, petrified, overstimulated, confusion, pondering our conundrums, petitions of countless causes, policies over change, philanthropy over climate change, philosophers of chemical warfare, praying others will cease fire. Policies over rules change. Policies over rules change. Policies over rules change, piecing our consciousness, putting our culture on. Planting our crops produces possibilities of change, plotting our crescendo, pleading our case, protecting our cause. People of catalysts, product of crops. Poet of cultivation, created on planet Earth by communities of powerful people. Filipino poet of culture. POC. Poem.
Home indeed. Home indeed. Brilliant. Like I said, I forgot. Let's go, man. Let's go. I forgot. Damn, girl. Rudy would be proud of you
Thank you.
because you're not a love poet like him. And yet it's funny, the ones that keep saying they're not love poets write the best love poem. He'd be proud of you. I think he was in Toronto not too long ago, actually. So, have you ever seen him or met him, or
No, I've never. It's gonna be it's a dream of mine, honestly. It's a dream of mine.
you should reach out to him. He's a very approachable guy, very friendly. So I could see you two doing something together.
Really? Oh, what a compliment.
Oh
Oh,
my
that's awesome.
God, girl, you when once you've decompressed from this, so we'll do a quick interview and go read some of the comments. And for
Yeah.
someone as young as you, the wisdom that you possessed, my God, the words, the depth. I was just blown away. Um, I believe in how the universe works. I don't purposely say I want a poet to do this month. It just worked out that you agreed to do December, but man, what a way to end the year. What a way to end the year. How are you feeling now after doing that?
Man, this is the first show I've done this year just because I was in this funk where I couldn't write anything.
Mm,
And then it started feeling like a job. So I was like, I need to take a breath and it'll come when it comes. And then when you sent me that reminder like, hey, are we still on back in November, I wrote Yonka. I was like, I haven't even tried to even like say anything or, write anything. So when I was writing Yonka, I was like, what is just like a brain dump that I can put together? And it helped me. Like inherently, you kind of pulled me out of that funk of being like, hey, like remember you still have this to do. And then I sat there and I was like, let me actually perform in front of the mirror and remember why. Like remember my why
mm.
as to why I did this. And it was a great reminder. And I was like, oh, I should write. And then I wrote Yonka in like 2 minutes and I was like, okay, so I was just lying to myself. I just wasn't laughing. That's what it was.
Yeah, you needed a break.
Yeah,
Sometimes,
yeah.
sometimes we need to step away from things that we really love to really appreciate it,
Hmm.
right? And to see how you feel not having it in your life. So, it's a win-win because that reminder brought you back to say, hey, I am a poet, I need to get back to reciting. I'm doing the same thing. I've kind of I rarely recite anymore, and I was like,
Hmm.
why am I not reciting? So I made a commitment to myself. I'm going to get back into reciting in 2025, and I'm not going to show up to every show like some other poets, but I'm going to definitely try to do at least two or three a month and get back into it because I do enjoy it, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And especially when you write like you. And so, how long have you been writing? Like, how long have you been doing this?
Um, like to perform and everything, it's only been about like 3 years.
Okay,
But writing, I've been writing since I was 16.
16.
So it was just journal entries, and I actually didn't know that poetry and spoken word was a thing until my AP English teacher senior year was like, okay, well, we're gonna learn about Shakespeare, but like let me put you on like just poetry in pop culture. And she was playing a Def Poetry Jam. So she was playing like all these poets, and she was like, a lot of these people ended up become artists or rappers or writers.
Mm,
And it I was just like, oh, this is what I've been doing the whole time. Like there's actually like a whole culture revolved around this. So I ended up just diving deep into it. And then when college hit, one of my GEs that aligned with my minor was having to take a culture writing class. And it was actually a spoken word class. And I had no idea. And it was just something that I was like, okay, so this has always been in me. I just always felt like there wasn't a community for it. So when I found out there was a community for it, I would just keep writing, keep writing. And then COVID hit, and I was like sharing my thoughts with my partner at the time, and he was like, I think you should like find an open mic and do this.
mm,
Like, I really think that you're not the only one feeling like this, and people will get it. Like, people who understand that type of writing will just understand. Because I understand it, and I don't know anything about poetry. And I'm like, okay. So yeah, I just started performing and then it just happened that way.
Yeah. Well, you definitely were meant to do this, and you know,
Oh,
your ex partner, if he's still your partner, was bang on, right?
yeah.
When I listen to you, it's not just the cadence, it's not just the way you deliver, and that's a very powerful part of it. But the words, um, the phrasing. I'm sitting there going, how did she even think of that? I wrote down a couple. Treat me like an option. As soon as I heard that, it took me back to my financial days. I used to be a bond trader and I used to do all this. But an option, you can either buy or sell it. So it's like brilliant, right? I don't know how many people would associate that with that word option, but that's what came to me. It's like I'm like a commodity that you can just sell or you can just keep if you so desire. So I thought that was
Mhm.
a brilliant line. And then an ode to the strongest parts of me when you're talking about if you're gonna write about love, you're gonna love me, right?
Mhm.
I just love the way you bring your words together and then the imagery that comes from it. And then your delivery is just brilliant, brilliant. Like I said, when I first saw you at Nuyorican Cafe, I was just blown away. That's one of the reasons I wanted to feature you. I'm kind of selfish this way. I feature people that I want to hear, I want to see, and I think other poets would want to see it. Like I said, go and look at the comments. So you're in Northern Cal. Where in Northern Cal do you live?
So it's like Pittsburgh, Antioch. So it's about like 30 minutes away from Oakland, 45 minutes
Okay.
away from
I
SF.
only know of Antioch because one of the Pittsburgh Steelers. I'm a huge football fan.
Hmm.
Went to Antioch or lived in Antioch, so that's how I know that part. I lived in Southern Cal, so I don't know much about Northern Cal. So where'd you go to school?
I went to school, Freedom High. It was predominantly white at the time when I went. So middle school and high school was I was like the brochure kid. That was like, oh yeah, we're serving all demographics, and it was just like one brown kid in the back, and it was me. And it was like great. It was like multiple because I'm mixed. So it was like, oh yeah, we've hit like our 3% quota for that year.
Right,
So yeah, I was there, but I grew up in a predominantly diverse area growing up. And yeah, it's a small town here. There's not a lot of art out here in terms of just like poetry and everything like that.
right,
And it's kind of seen more as entertainment than it is really like something we should be like listening to every day.
right.
So that's why when I find spaces like this, I just like dive deep into it because I'm like, yes, people who get it,
Well,
like
to
people.
all the other organizers that may be on the show, I know I think Michael Ingram is on. You should definitely be featuring this young woman. So I would suspect you should be doing more features in 2025.
I hope.
So I'm gonna put the word out to my friends that if you're an organizer and you create shows, this is a young woman that I strongly suggest you feature. Um, so your Filipino background, you say you're mixed. So what's
Mhm.
what's what's your what's your ethnic mix?
My mother's actually Spanish and Filipino.
Okay.
And I was like, oh yeah, but I feel like that, I feel like everybody is. And then I realized it was my maternal grandfather who was half Spanish. So there was a point in her life where she spoke Spanish and everything like that. So I was like, oh wow. And I didn't realize it until college when we had to do our family tree. And I realized I was like, wow, there's a lot of strong roots here that we've just ignored.
Hmm.
So I like dove deep into that.
Yeah, I think that's one of the beauties. I mean, and one of the things about these types of tests that we have today now, it just goes to show us how diverse we are in our gene.
Hmm.
There's no such thing as pure black white. It's all a myth anyway. It always has been. But I love the mixing. It's like I look at my kids and I see the beauty so-called black and white coming together and what comes from it.
Hmm.
Then you see the Chinese because I got Chinese from my days in Trinidad. We have a bit of Spanish, blah blah blah, indigenous from that part of the world. So I love it because yeah, we're all these individual mixing pots, melting pots, walking around in a bigger melting pot. So um, was your childhood a good childhood?
Yeah, yeah, it was. It was
Would you like?
very
Would you like
humble
about?
beginnings.
What'd you like about it?
Um, I love that my parents let me be a child. which I think is it's not, it's not seen as, I work with kids, inner city youth, in low income areas. I'm a school secretary, so it was a culture shock for me when I realized like being treated as a child is a luxury for a lot. And when I realized like, wow, like I thought I had it rough, and these kids have gone through so much more trauma than I've ever experienced in my 29 years of living. And then it made me just be thankful for them. The older I got, I was like, wow, I actually loved all the things I hated as a kid, like the chores and the responsibilities. I'm the oldest. There's only two of us. So I was just like, man, I hated being the oldest. I hated taking care of my little brother. And you realize I was like, wow, that's such a luxury. Like, having that sibling bond, and like, it's just two of us. And the older I get, the closer we are. So it was nice seeing like, wow, my parents worked hard to make sure that we stayed kids. So
Good.
we didn't have to, be that role.
Mhm.
Um, so yeah, that was my favorite part, was just like having my parents let us be children.
Well, I know not a lot of people, particularly here, may not know you. So, I read your bio,
Mhm.
but really, really quickly, what would you tell, what would you tell people that don't know anything about you? What would you say? What would you say about BeeYonka?
That I'm creative, but I'm very reserved. As extroverted I can be, I'm selectively extroverted.
Mm.
But I think a lot. And I think overthinking is like one of my pros and cons, but it's I think a lot. So if I don't say anything, doesn't mean I don't like you. It's just I am soaking in the moment and trying to be present. I'm a very present person now. Um, but yeah, that's the one thing that I would like people to know is I'm here with you in this moment.
Nice. I don't believe in overthinking. You can't turn the mind off. It's what thoughts you pay attention to. That's the difference, right?
Mm.
A lot of our thoughts just show up, right? Too many people are trying to control their mind and control their thoughts. Good luck with that, because a lot of our thoughts just show up. What do you pay attention to? But I like that because you're a creative. I wanna do a quick word association with you, right?
Okay.
Just gonna say a word, whatever comes to mind. You don't have to filter it. Just blurt it out. Whether it's another word or even just a small phrase. So art,
Creative control.
family.
Oh my gosh, I'm thinking now. Heartbeat.
Okay. Humor.
Um,
You,
Expression.
you just answered. As soon as I said it, your smile came up. I loved it. Life,
Reward.
future,
Destination.
humanity,
Life. A lifeline. A lifeline.
poetry,
Myself.
love.
Um, that's hard. Um, Loss.
I like that's hard too, though. That was your
Mhm.
first reaction. I like that. That's good. Love is hard.
Mhm.
It is hard. Self,
Um, Discipline.
education,
Justice.
earth.
Life.
Thank you for playing. You're brilliant. I could talk to you for a long time, because I think you're quite fascinating. I think there's such a depth to you, and I love when you said you're kind of a chosen or kind of a spot extrovert, right?
Mhm.
Right. So you know when to turn it on, when not to, right? Because a lot
Mhm.
of times people think an introvert is someone that just doesn't like people. That's not it at all. An introvert just prefers to recharge by themselves or with a very small group of people. So, but I like that. I To the people that are listening, please, if you don't know this young woman, please reach out and get to know her. I always invite people to reach out. It's important. We show up to these open mics and these shows, but how much do we get to really know the people? It's just like in your job. We say we're family at work, but how well do you really know people? So one of the reasons I like doing the interviews is an invitation for others to get to know the artist outside of just being a poet. Like who are you? What makes you think? How do you think? You know, that sort of thing. So I really appreciate you doing this. Last thing, if God does exist, and when you reach the pearly gates, what would you want God to say to you?
Thank you for trying.
Nice. Nice.
Yeah.
Well, you've got a lot of trying to do. You're 29, going on 60. You have a wisdom and a depth to you. Like I said, I was so glad that I came across you. I'm so glad you chose to accept this and honor us today. I'm so honored that we end the year with you. We've had an amazing season of poets, but I'm really glad that we got to end with you because you were so deserving of this moment, right?
Thank
To be
you.
spotlighted for people to get to know you a little bit. We only get to know you a little bit, but your poetry is really attractive. It brings you in it's like you want, it's like you're a gnat to the light. You just want to keep going and get to know it. So I'm just really grateful. I'm going to invite the gathering to unmute and show your love and appreciation because we were just given a Christmas end of the year treat by the one and only BeeYonka. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for her.
Amazing. Amazing. Amazing.
I would have flipped my desk over if my Mac didn't cost so much. It was awesome. Crazy.
Let's fucking go. All of that shit. That's how you set it off in this. You know what I mean? Set it off.
Oh, I know that voice. Is that Elemental?
All right.
Hey, bro.
Yes, sir. What's good, folks? What's good?
Phenomenal. Phenomenal.
That was. You're the reason why she's here. I came to your show, and that's how I found her, man.
Wow.
Man.
Greatest community in the world. Let's go.
My favorite part is as I'm reciting, I have to stay in this like mental, in this mental game of just like getting through it. And like as everyone's faces is like just carouseling, all I see is like CP being like so animated in the back. I was like, I can't look. And I was just like, oh my God. And then it was hyping me up and I was like, I can't get excited. My pitch is gonna get higher and no, I can't get excited. So it was funny. I was like, okay, calm down. I was like,
did an amazing job.
And Raul, through your show, she's going to be on mine.
Oh, there you go. Thanks, Doc. There you go, Doc. There you go.
BeeYonka, you were wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. Oh my goodness.
thank you. I appreciate it.
Brilliantly.
Just fire. Complete fire.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
This was
It
beyond.
was really very powerful. The flow, the words, everything. This was fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
You were punching and jabbing, but you pulled me in so eloquently that I hung on every word.
To steal a line from my brother Elemental, I think it's how he used to say, "You're a strong goddess."
Oh, thank you.
You are. You are a force of nature. You're the full package. You've got the words, you've got the delivery, you've got the performance, you've got the looks, right? You've got it all, and the depth of your writing, it's just so inviting, so inviting. So yeah, thank you so much for this. I'm so glad that you all enjoyed this. I just saw a last comment. Someone said they only got to see, I think, 15 minutes of your set. I will be putting this up, and then I'll obviously be sending it to you. So I see there's a number of people, I'm assuming, that are here from your circle that are here to support you. So the video will be up. I'll do a better job of getting it up early because I think this will be a great Christmas present for us all to watch again. Because when I'm putting it together, I get to listen to it. I can listen to it as many times as I want because it was just brilliant. So, but now, my friend, you get to sit back and enjoy and take in the Not Ready for Prime Time Poets section. And these are not, I always position that these are not just poets that are here for 5 minutes. They're here to support the feature with their performance because I think we all stand on each other's shoulders, right? And, you know, a lot of times when people come up and they go, oh my God, I got to follow BeeYonka. But no, it's not a competition that way. You do you. We just watched her do her, right? And we can all shine in this, because this is one of the reasons I'm not a big fan of competition in poetry, because it's so subjective, right? But, you know, if you want to do that, knock yourself out. But I just think we can all do that and come and support each other, but everyone deserves a moment where they're spotlighted and given an opportunity to shine and see what they can do, because I could see you doing this on a bigger stage if that's what you want. I can see that. That's why I'm saying you should reach out to Rudy. So anyway, my dear, thank you so much for this. Thank you for blessing the Inspired Poetry Corner. Thank you for your gifts, your presence, your time, your love, your passion. Thank you for sharing a bit of your story with us on this Sunday. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, give it up for BeeYonka.
Thank you, everybody.
What a treat, ladies and gentlemen. What a treat. What a treat. All right, let's continue on. So from brilliance to this next line of brilliance. Just a reminder, guys, this is not an open mic. I already had one person request if they can speak. If I can get you on, I'll try, but this is not an open mic, and we already have a long list of poets. So let's get into the Not Ready for Primetime Poets segment. As tradition, I always like to call upon my friend Alexandra from the island of Greece to kick off the Not Ready for Primetime Poets segment. All right, so if you can unmute your mic again, and Alexandra, you and Henry have the floor. Actually, sorry, yes, it's Alexandra accompanied by Henry Lohman. So,
yeah, thank you so much for bringing American artists over, because the United States mics are really late for us. So we get to meet BeeYonka and other people who, it's just, I've been to the Nuyorican with Elemental hosting, but it was so late for me. So it's really good to be able to meet the American artists.
Nice. I'm glad. All right.
If you're looking for the supreme resurrection of a passion, visions flare, volcanic from Earth's womb, battle cry, heroic, breaking all boundaries, achieving the impossible. Invisible, invisible entity, striving to rise above life and death, above narrow paradises, wider and wider along the protein journey. Monad, dyad, antithesis, and new synthesis. From each center, expanding and fulfilling discovery. We are looking at the finest quality of the creation, finding it in a divine spark. Immortality's rays enlightening matters of plastic bodies with lasting brutality, outgrowing every ugliness, guided by beauty. Thoughts, words, arts, giving birth to glory, civilizations, challenging horizons, freeing from disillusions, clear and clear along the expansion of Genesis. Logic, principles, discipline, and equals. Wisdom constructing justice, wholeness, and completion. We are looking for the sweet manifestation of a miracle, by finding it in the human heart flame. Vibrations as rhymes synchronizing with the universe's euphony. Endless cycles of sorrow and joy. Hope's momentum waning and flaxing. Waterfalls of emotions plunging down deep cliffs of our existence. light brightening through darkness, brighter and brighter along our sacred friendships. Seasons, leaves, flowers, and patterns, holding off evil, regenerating, harmonizing strength and immunity. If you are looking for the archetype of deity, try finding in the human soul flame. Earth's devotion, endlessly rotating sun's source. The great absolute energy, propeller of all life. Whirlpooling through humans and stars. Seas of sunlight uniting with skies of fire. Stellar symbols heightening cosmic charm. Higher and higher along the mystic path. Water, earth, air, fire, and ideas. Worlds and heavens dividing and uniting. If you're looking for the magical journey of a flight, transcending the euphoria, mystical self-revelations taking us up worlds.
Wow. I hope you enjoyed that pregnant pause, because I think we needed to just absorb it. That was beautiful. Well played, Henry. Well played. I love the two. I love the collaboration between the two of you. It does. Your music does something to her presentation, the words, the graphics, everything. It's a beautiful marriage of two artistic hearts and brain coming together. I love that. Henry, you really got to come back and do 5 minutes, just you. The YouTube one you sent me that I took a look at, I was like, yeah, I'm really enjoying your flow. So thank you for being here. Really appreciate it. And Alexandra, you're always amazing. It's one of the reasons I love setting this part of the show with you. So as long as you always attend, I'll have you go first. It just sets the tone for what's to come and puts us all in a really meditative but yet receptive mode. So thank you, my friend, for always being here, and thank you for always accepting my stupid joke about the island of Greece. So I appreciate it. All right. From brilliance to brilliance. Up next, Artemis. You have the mic.
Thank you. I cut my camera off. Sorry. Thank you. And to BeeYonka, I truly was blessed. And thank you so much. I'm trying to, with this poem that I'm going to read, get out of my comfort zone and do some self-discovery. And the title of this piece is I Walk Alone. Where did you go? You left without a trace. When did you leave? Were you afraid I would give chase? Would I? Why would I, when I know you didn't want to get caught? You're God's gift to the world, at least that's what we've always been taught. So many hearts have wounds from searching for your affection. When you look in the mirror, do you even have a reflection? A songwriter proclaimed you are what the world needs now. A songstress dared to ask what you had to do with it. After all, you're just a secondhand emotion. She may have been onto something with that notion. Your elusiveness taught me to sow seeds into my own garden, tenderly tending them as they grow. I learned to cherish my assets one by one, all in a row. Strength and the willingness to be my brother's keeper gave me the courage to sink my roots in deeper into the soil that was my essence. Love, oh love, stop making a fool of me. Please be kind and set me free to live without you and be okay as I happily walk alone each day. In peace.
Mm. You know, I sincerely hope very soon you will stop doubting yourself as a poet and a writer.
I'm getting there. I'm getting there.
I know.
This is a growth. This is a growth for me.
Yeah. Well, I'm enjoying watching it, and like I said, I go back to your very first reading with I guess was Home and Heart, and then yeah, just keep doing it, keep showing up, keep writing, right? Keep writing. I'm really enjoying your flow. I'm really enjoying your flow and getting to know you. So it's been a pleasure. But keep writing, keep recite. Hopefully, you'll do more recitals in the new year as well. Show up some of these open mics and show people, you know, more about who you are. So, and she's a screenplay writer as well. She went to USC Film School. I mean, you know, she comes by it honestly. So
I'm more comfortable in the background, not in the foreground.
that's okay. I'm gonna push you into the daylight. I'm gonna push you in, drag you in, kicking and screaming. So,
but thank you for the opportunity. I appreciate it. You don't know how much.
You're most welcome, my friend. You're most welcome. All right, from brilliance to brilliance. Up next, Laura. So good to have you back. Welcome. The mic is yours.
Thank you very much. And thank you again, BeeYonka. That was absolutely incredible. I was in the, whatever they call it, below the stage, jumping up and down and screaming and clapping. So my little set for tonight is planned because of the, not only in the US, but things spread, don't they? The nationalism, the racism, the sexism, the genderism, everything has unfortunately exploded in a certain way, we could say, with certain events. So this first piece is called The Symbol. It's hard to say what they think of me. They've never asked where I'd like to be, nor whom I'd like to represent. I've never been given a vote. I've been folded and left in drawers and attics with moths and mice, or taped across teenagers' walls. I've been slit up and burnt, or used to patch their pants. They hoist me high most days. I've held on tight above cemeteries and banks, ships, and schools. They salute me and promise me the world, but I am left alone, to be whipped by the wind or to hang limp and forgotten in cold and heat. I have been used as a symbol of their vanities, anger, and dreams. Poem. Thank you. And the next piece, some of you know I'm American, but I live in Austria now. I've lived in Europe for 24 years. And this piece I wrote actually in August 2022. It's called Vienna Vigil for Lisa Maria Kellermeyer and all those health professionals who tried to help us. Meanwhile, at St. Stephen's Cathedral today, services for Lisa Maria Kellermeyer, the doctor who spoke out about anti-vaxxers, the doctor who was hunted by anti-vaxxers. Thousands light the candles, play the bells, sing, "We shall overcome." Solidarität gegen Gewalt und Hass. Mannwachen für Ärzte nach Suizid. Solidarity against violence and hate. Vigil for a doctor after suicide. Don't peck at God. Don't peck at your own reflection in the mirror. Don't peck at flowers. Can you see the hope? A mystical place, stripes of color, green, yellow, purple. Can you hold the hope? Hold your breath count to 3, hold your hand, take part. A woman is the neck of the head. Turn to the tree, count the branches. Turn to the tree, count the rings of life. Count the children who walk the streets. Call their names, call them together. The tangle and the leap, and we bade to the moon. The birth of a child, courted like the sound of laughter. A woman is the neck of the head. A child is the next day. Allow the child to grow. Allow the child to speak. Light the candles, play the bells, sing, we shall overcome. Solidarity against hate and violence. Vigil for a doctor after suicide. Thank you very much. Poem.
Thank you so much, Laura. Thank you for those reminders. You know, one thing I take away is that we live in a time where many people, we see the same events and look at it differently. And that's okay, it's always been that way. But what really bothers me is this hate that comes from people because some of us may see things differently. Most people have played team sports or participate in events that require more than one person. As an ex-football coach, I always encourage young ones to play team sports because of the life lessons you can learn from if you take it with you. But somehow, once we leave the athletic field or we leave the stage, those lessons are lost. Because whether you agree politically or not, aren't you American or Austrian or Canadian? This hate because someone thinks differently, that's childish. That does not speak to our civility, does not speak to our humanity. That if we don't all think the same way and see things the same way, I'm now going to hate you. I find that very interesting. So I hope when we listen to words from Laura and other poets that speak of what's going on today, even if you agree or disagree with it, I invite you to look, is there hate in your heart because someone else may disagree with how you see things? Because to me, that's very childish. Because I still respect, even if I may not agree with everything Laura just said, she's human. She's like me. And she's thinking, and that should be applauded. And she's thinking and sharing. Because you never know how your words might inspire someone to pick up the pen and go, yeah, I don't like what's going on. I want to say something as well. I want everyone to speak what they don't like so we can discuss it, not fear it. So thank you, Laura. Thank you for always being that voice of reason, right? Like I said, don't always agree with you politically, but I admire the way you put it together, and I admire your conviction for speaking it. Thank you. You're always welcome here. Always, my friend. Well done. Well done. All right. Excuse me. From brilliance to brilliance. Richard Harris, sir, you have the mic. I hope you're feeling better.
Well, sort of, but not quite. I'm nearly there. You know,
I knew you were sick.
Recovering from a nasty flu, so there you go.
Glad you're here. Okay.
So I've got a few little ones, and they're all Christmas ones, as you can see from my attire. Santa and the Scientist. Hieronymus Birkentroop was a man with a mission, a man of science. With a brilliant mind, he had 114 degrees, letters after his name and titles before. His mission was firstly, to invent a means of fast transport round the world so fast it would make Star Trek's transporter look slow, and his beaming up would be faster than Scotty's. He slaved away and came up trumps. Then he wondered who could benefit most, and after much thought, he decided to take this invention to a man he loved best of all, Santa. That's who. He dreamed of the great man delivering toys in a flash to every child in the world. Now, not every bright, intelligent man with many degrees knows all about life, has lived in the real world, and has common sense. They live in an ivory tower in a world of academia, as did he. He never gave a thought to the reindeer flying high, to the joy of the world in seeing Santa fly in the sky. He wanted everything done fast, as efficiently can be. He was a time and motion man. His spirit could not break free. As he sought Santa's house, it's true, he wondered what the reindeers would do, and decided that he rather liked the idea of reindeer stew. He found Santa and told him the idea, and Santa liked the thought of the immediate delivery, and so to him. On the sleigh they set off, but the calculations were wrong. They crash-landed 5 miles away, and a long walk back was that in snow. The reindeer were playing in a field nearby. When to them Santa did cry and ask for their help, of course they agreed, and now forevermore they will help Santa deliver presents galore. Hieronymus Birkentroop walked home all alone, a very sad man. For the rest of his life he did moan that Santa was daft and should have given him another chance. But Santa was wise and did not want to be led on a futile dance by a man with no common sense, who, although bright, acted dense. And that was suggested. In the UK, we had a guy called Dr. Beeching, who the Conservatives in the 60s got to do a hatchet job as a time and motion man on the railways. And so we have a ruined infrastructure, but it saved money. Get your baubles out. After a whirlwind romance, we had fun. Life was a merry dance. We were married a year after we met. A great year I can't forget. We wed in summer, the sun did shine. When Christmas approached, she was mine. I had had a bachelor pad. To leave her mother, she was glad. As Christmas approached, I asked for a tree. But then we did agree we needed it not without kids to look at it and all. But actually, that made me want one more. Now Eileen likes a bargain fine. And on Christmas Eve in Leeds did find one that did shine. A shop selling window displays had a sale, and Eileen snapped up a bargain that made me quail. It was silver and white, glittering tree so striking, 8 feet tall. It struck me like lightning. It was so tall the top had to be bent. Eileen thought it great, almost heaven sent. She'd managed to get it onto the bus, but not without a lot of fuss. She smiled and looked at me and said with some glee, "Get your baubles out." I blinked and wanted to shout, but instead just said, "Pardon me." I was a single lad from the one up, one down, bauble free. I asked where her baubles were. She said I did air, because her baubles at her home were her mother's and not to us did roam. So we had an 8-foot glittering tree as empty and as bare as can be. Now this was before the big supermarkets arrived and only little corner shops thrived. It was after 6 p.m, so I was sent in the car on a mission around the town, went ever so far. Every shop I went in, they only met me with a grin and said he was sorry he'd sold out of baubles. I wanted to shout. Eventually, I found 3, and they looked stunning on our otherwise totally bare tree. That's a true story of 50 years ago, because we had our golden wedding this year. Then there's just a very little one. I've taken my hat off because I want to be all serious. And it's Our Shame. The sweet Virgin Mary gave birth in a barn. But should we not still shout and alarm, as here in our prosperous new century, plenty of people live in abject penury? It would surprise no one to find the hospital closed and a homeless woman who would have supposed could find a place to give a clean and dignified birth of such simple rights would find there was a dearth. Perhaps having wandered the streets alone and sad, today a birth in a coal barn to her might not seem bad. The rulers of this new great glittering millennium should hang their heads in shame till our needs are understood, till they act with true and generous humanity. Our daily lives will be filled with profanity. So many things have not changed in thousands of years, and Mary could now give birth amidst dirt and tears. So that's my quite varied set all on the same subject, really. I'm trying to two different ones. And I only do them this time of year. And I think the last time before the flu, I was on Finn Hall's blog Like a Blue. So I deliberately chose three completely different ones so that people like Laura don't have to sit through them twice.
Well, I always tell poets, don't be afraid to repeat poets, right?
Well, I know, but I have far too many Christmas poems. I must have about 50 Christmas poems, so it would be silly to repeat them really. When I quite like them,
tis
but
the
it is
season.
limited when you can do them.
Tis the season, and I love your poetry because I always feel like I'm not just getting history; I'm getting a slice of life wherever you are, or the things that you experience that others experience as well. So that's one of the things I always appreciate about your writing, your poetry, because if I just read your poetry, just that alone gives me a little bit of a snippet of some of the experiences in the life you've lived. So I really appreciate that. So
thank you.
And I hope you're feeling. I'm glad you're feeling better. Glad you're feeling better.
So. Well, it's just tiredness hitting all the time.
Yeah.
You sort of decide to vacuum the floor, and then you have to sit down. It's just ridiculous. But I'll get there. Yes, never a bit croaky still.
Well done, my friend. All right, from brilliance to brilliance. Yeah, another amazing poet coming up. Poet, writer, artist. Because poetry sometimes is just too small a label. But yeah, the mic is yours. Dazzle us, my friend.
Hey, let me just share screen here. These are a little wordy, so I figured it might do everybody a favor and put the words up. Villain protagonists. In this photograph, it's the moment, where you know it, where you see their sparks fly, their slipping strands of fire, the dying of the light, the light in their center souls and how it slides free. I've heard it said we all start on the small, like the cowards our hats hide, like the fear in our hands. But smaller prey means playtime, and I am a working man. In this photograph, I am scrying myself in scars. I'm wishing for the wisdom of children, like a child at serious work on a broken glass castle. Do you wish you were cold enough to kill? Do you ever wish you were hard and sharp-edged and slick like me and the shards up my sleeves? Have you ever once wished you were empty enough to unmake them? To slam their pieces into slivers? To unwind their wrappings, pick out the weave, snap each separate thread, and untie their knotted selves? Can you see the stitches when you watch the way you talk and feed off each other? Wicked is as wicked wants, and you all come following after. In this photograph, you can see her eyes. In this photograph, you can see his feet. In this photograph, you can see their skulls open. In this photograph, you can see me smiling with their eyeless, ruthless, mindless selves. All their... This is covering up. Hold on. Sorry about this. All their leftover living, all their potential energy, their might-haves, and if only lost to a layer on the ground, slowly soaking into the earth. In this photograph, I can see you reaching toward me, moth-winged, scaled with lust. I'm so frightened of your hunger, surpassing even the surfeit of my banquet. In this photograph, you see the heart is placed neatly in the center of the table. Leering, you loom up over us, titanic and trembling with greed. All swallowed, cowering, I watch you fly on, omnivorous. Sorry for the confusion in the middle of that. I should have looked at this before I did it. A history of languages. Once, our awareness of the world was written, storybook shine, and fantastical, elaborate calligraphy. Now, click-clack tapping out our artistry and wishes, we smear intricacies, compress meaning. Heel to toe, we step our way empty, it seems, losing the bric-a-brac from our voices, our rejoicing. But oh, long before the first drops of ink met skin or paper, our languages lived in the world itself, spread out through its fractal capillaries, a lacework circulation of understanding. Do you know, in the oldest tongues, they use sounds we discarded. They say we, foolish children, dropped paths of toneless exclamations and flourishes along our way into the stark, electric future, as though we spit out sparks, and they spread everywhere. What a strange evolution from the convolutions we enjoyed. Dental, fricative, elemental, and bone deep, the percussion of everything around us, the great heartbeat, the great breath, sucked down now and spat back as flat, laconic apathy. Do you think it was easier for them to speak with the birds, the thunderclouds, the great stalking stars? We hear silence, or only the faintest meaning. What have we relinquished to the grasping page? What deep matters have we cast aside in our greed, our unheeding penmanship? When Eve first called all the animals, could she still pronounce the names they tell us in our dreams?
Wow. Are those new?
One of the first one was a little bit older, but still pretty new, and the other one's really new. Yeah.
I was just thinking. I don't remember hearing that. I'm not like I know all your work, but I really enjoy. I really enjoyed those a lot, a lot. I say I'll be, your to me your writing is just is above board. It's just brilliant. Right? I think you're a brilliant writer, not just a poet. You're a brilliant writer. Always enjoy listening to you. Always enjoy listening to you. Thank you. And I hope you're feeling better and strong, and hopefully this time of year you'll be surrounded by lots of love and lots of hugs and hopefully good food and laughter like all of us. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Sunday morning still for me. But I got up this morning in a good place because I got up on the right side of the dirt knowing I get to listen to poetry today. Kind of reminds me of being a football coach. I'll get up and be like, my first thought, it's game day, baby. Let's go. That's how I feel with this. So I hope you're feeling this because this is such a joy to share this time with you. All right. Thanks again. Thanks a lot again, Val. All right, from brilliance to brilliance. The next five, we have Neil, Jennifer, Principe, Lantel, and Kaz coming up. So that's your next five. Neil, another brilliant mind. The mic is yours, man.
Hi, Raul.
How are you, my friend?
Thank you. Thanks a lot. And congratulations, BeeYonka, for a wonderful set. I really enjoyed it. And your poem, I think it was the POC one where you had references to Phoenix. Phoenix. So here goes I have a Phoenix poem as well. So Phoenix. Ashes to ashes, ashes to dust. I self-immolate and then combust. I turn my energies to my entropy, disintegrate, subatoms, and debris. I stand in smoldering smithereens of what once was and may have been. I chose to quit when I was ahead. Worry not, grieve not, I am not dead. Merely a pause as I begin to recreate, blowing at dying embers in the grate, stoking the fires that have slowly died, bellows that had given up and sighed. Flames of yellow, gold, and purple flow as I seek to restore my former self and glow. I heal myself and then slowly reassemble what I did once, deliberately disassemble. I know you stretched out then to lend me your hand. In your ready palm, I reignited and burnt my brand, rekindled all my fire, turned on this flaming light, flying high up in the sky, comet burning bright. So that's Phoenix. Raul, I'm going to read out a recent one. It's still kind of in draft. Some folks have heard it because I did read it out earlier at Time to Arrive last week. So it's called The First Sign of Civilization. The first sign of civilization. Neither fishhooks, nor a clay pot, nor records of who owned what. Not a sharp weapon, nor a grinding stone. But yes, that's right, a broken femur bone. A broken femur bone that had healed, as the forensics revealed, 15,000 years ago when human had cared enough to carry another to safety. Left on the side, abandoned, he would not have survived. Whether driven by filial love or camaraderie, we will never know. This, the forensics do not show. The real heavy lifting would only come later. Femoral fractures to the largest bone take time to heal. 6 weeks of binding the wound, clumsy bone setting, no fentanyl. Foraging for food and fetching water, 6 weeks. Hearing the screams of pain, no fentanyl. From ancient Egypt, a human act. Maybe not the first, and hopefully not the last. For me, this altruism appealed, for it does illumine what it means to be human. Broken femur healed. Thank you.
Well, I don't know, my friend. That piece sounds like it's done to me. I love that. Well done.
Thank you.
Well done. I love that piece.
Thank you, sir.
And the ending is so strong. Beautiful.
Thank you.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
It's always good to hear your words, Neil. You know, gives me hope for the corporate world still.
I checked out of that.
Well,
no longer part of that.
We both come from the corporate world, but I still believe there's still a lot of good people there. Some of them just need to wake up. So I'm a healthy capitalist, but what we've been doing the last 20, 30 years is not that. So it's gone amok. I can understand why people fear it or want to get rid of it. I get it. So anyway, like I said, you give me hope because I love the way you write. I love the way you think. And that's probably the best thing I love about a lot of you guys. I just love the way you think. Right? May not always agree with what you think, but I love the way you think and the fact that you're thinking. You need to think more. Conscious thoughts. So anyway, Neil, thank you so much. All right, from brilliance to brilliance, Jennifer, a beautiful friend from Germany. The mic is yours.
From Jamaica, living in Germany, please.
Sorry, fair enough. Our Jamaican who living in Germany now.
Exactly.
I'll say it in my Trini voice.
Okay, I brought 2 poems, one short, one a bit longer. The first one is written from the standpoint of a playboy. So I hope you men won't get too offended by it. It's titled, God Took Sex Away. I used to be the hottest guy around, seducing girls, then be outward bound, hurting their feelings, sending them reeling, treating them as playthings, caring not for anyone, anything. Wouldn't settle down, having so much fun, listening to how they come, wouldn't settle down. God suddenly took all that away from me, had to stay put, no longer felt sexy. God took sex away from me, claiming I was acting worse than a rodent. God suddenly made me fully impotent. Getting cured could help me, not even the most skilled surgeon. Had to sincerely turn to religion. Now, all my energy, money has been spent trying to reverse becoming impotent. Now, I don't even look at chicks with lust in my eyes. If asked when they're gonna be seeing me, hoping to spend another lustful night with me, too ashamed to say the real reason why, I excuse myself with appointment lies. My next poem is titled Invisible Bonds. We know we must sow to reap, but every time we try to farm our lands, to plant sugarcane and other crops we need, Masters' whips loom in the forefront of our minds, beating, torturing our ancestors back then in time. So we drop the tools, pull back our hands, although we know we can barely feed our kids and families. We run to the cities to escape the plantation in our minds, but the concrete jungles don't have enough jobs. Thus, we can't earn any money to feed our kids and families. Yes, we end up cultivating ghettos of confinement, then try to break out by begging, stealing, killing out of hunger, or simply out of greed. We are only hurting the reputation of our Negro race. For as long as it even lightly rains, farmers never go to bed with hunger pains. Invisible bonds of slavery are holding us down, 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 down. We've got to hold our head up, 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 up. Invisible bonds of chainery are keeping us back, back, back. We got to struggle forward. Don't look backward. Long dead master spirits are controlling our minds. It's time we got a grip on our self-destruction. Stop being blind. Oh, can't we see we're brainwashing ourselves with the dreadful memories of our ancestors' miseries? Oh, can't we see we are imprisoning our bodies with our inferior complexes, feeling that farm work is meant only for slaves' work? Oh, can't we see we're killing one another through criminal greed, tribal genocide, and endless body fights in our quest to become as materialistic as those we fought against to obtain our civil rights? And so I say, those bonds have got to go. We've got to break those mental bonds. Those chains have got to go. We've got to melt those mental chains. Those spirits have got to go. We've got to exercise those spirits to free our minds, to be able to move on here and now, to move on in these present times. End of poem.
Yes, indeed, Jennifer, we do. It's like what I was saying earlier. Doesn't matter if we agree or not. Man, we're still human. That should mean something, right? That should mean something. And, you know, I think we all need to, my invitation to everyone is during this holiday season, I do it every year. I take a few days to really step within, to really understand where I am with myself. The self-mastery to me is part of the ticket out of the craziness that we've created and the one-sided way we look at life. So I'm just speaking in general, not to anyone particular. So I love that poem. And how dare God take my sex away? Right? I don't care if I'm old. How dare you take it away? It's not yours to take away. I love that poem. I love that poem, Jenna. I love that poem.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much, Roy.
You know, I love when we hear things that just show our full humanity. I mean, we're all sexual beings, and it's nothing to fear or, you know, well, let's go do the nasty or be ashamed of it. That's another reason we look at things crazy. Sex is a beautiful, healthy thing, and God gave it to me. When you were reading that, it reminded me of being a kid, and my mother found a Playboy under my mattress. I was 14. You would have thought I killed the Pope. It was the worst thing that ever happened. It's funny when you're reading that that memory came up. So anyway, thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Glad you enjoyed it.
That was Jennifer from Jamaica, now living in Germany. All right, from brilliance to brilliance, Prince up here. The mic is yours, my brother. There he is.
The first one is called Protect Your Heart. Your heart is precious metal. Anyone can convert your emotions. They melt your happiness into particles of sadness through petals of tears and sentimental sorrows. Because you invested into stocks of your relationship, that same investment has depreciated the value of love for you. Never again trust your heart in faulty hands. Your depreciated love is skewed and unscrewed, just like rusted boats. Self-love is gonna be your ROI, restoring love in your once hardened heart. Never open your heart to just anyone, because not everyone is fair. And the last one is called Doable Dreams. Your dreams are doable. Just believe whatever is traveling past the boundaries of your universe, or like me, a successful writer, obstacles will be there in your obstacle course. In your reaching for mountaintops, they will hit like fists regardless. Will you to the finish line? You got in an athlete's foot. Persistence. Don't piss away your momentum of persistence. Don't let others get to your subconscious either. Thus, the Confucius lessons are gilded. Your dreams are doable, so chase them. Thank you.
Well done. Your writing is definitely changed, and there's a depth. I'll assume you're really feeling it. I love when you talked. That first poem I wrote down, the alchemy of feelings, emotions, self, and then you mentioned self-love will be your ROI, your return on investment. Well done.
Thank you.
Right, well done. I like that. I love the way how you blend in some of that financial term. Yeah, I just sense a shift in you and your writing. So I'm really enjoying listening to you now. Thank you, my friend. Keep going. Keep doing. Keep building on that dream. Hopefully this year you'll put a few notches closer to ending up in New York. And my friend wants to write for the New York Times. Right? He wants to write for the New York Times. And my attitude, as I've told him many times, why not you? Why not you? It may sound like this huge. It's the New York Times. Well, they're just people like you. Why not?
They definitely need his voice.
I think so too. I think so. So I invite the village to help this young man, encourage him, whatever he needs to make this dream come true. Because I would love, before I take my last breath, to know that he is a reporter, not just a contributor, a full reporter for the New York Times. That'd be really cool. Anyway, Prince Bay, always good to see you, and thank you for your constant support. All right, from brilliance to brilliance. Again, I just simply introduce him as the lantern carrier of light, the one and only lantern carrier.
Thank you, my brother. Celebrations of light. Love, like a flawless djembe, is an eternal music, echoing its own symphonies, drumming its own songs. It is a transcendent pearl felt by all familiar with the diamonds in our hearts. Celebration is the beauty of love, striving to rediscover its innate freedom, become its own joy. It is an essential part of the light which makes me holy. The glowing smile of a mother post-delivery of a newborn is usually one of boundless joy. Enter the baby in a manger, its elegant smile lifting me, carrying nothing but the ethereal energy of love. It inspires me to let go of remorse, to show that both happiness and sorrow are chords of the universal music, worthy of acceptance, virtues of the celebration of this dance of life. Light, like the life tree of love, shows a path to both young and saging by utilizing the diverse branches through a plethora of poets, showing that we're all unique beacons, have a right to stand tall in our excellence. The stars become a sparkle and not the night or darkness, parting the portals of a heart wide open so that the light within can roam its wilderness with sacred rays. Sometimes it is dark and I struggle only because I chase the moon away. Light inspires me to remove the dark clouds within, replacing them with the candle of vision so I can still see the lustrous dawn even in my darkest moments. It is in a realm of silent reflection that the fullness of the word works its magic, blending into the harp of harmonious symphonies. Poetry, like a florist, teaches me that diversity is sublime. It is not only the rose, but essentially the garden, which is the main team player. As the lushness of weeds, foliage, and branches also have something special to offer to humanity. Perspectives. It is prudent to be careful when delving into mundane conflicts, as my heart's light may not be strong enough to rein in the after effects on my emotions. Sometimes, even moonlight can be another form of emptiness until God's instrument of night allows itself to be blanketed by light. Flowers may not grow in harsh cold weather, but the winter clematis retains its beauty and joy because this season is its natural habitat. It is the heavens I look to for solace in my abyss, for to face this world alone may bring frequent pain. When the blue sky glows, flowers become awake, just as a ripe cocoon emerges into an exquisite butterfly. It is the light of festivals that illumines, like the sun, like a child's radiant smile and innocent laughter, bringing nourishment to us, to the plants. This same awakener creates the miracle of a cocoon, and poetry becomes a channel of this energy of light. Love is the pulse of that which gives meaning to beings. Clouds tend to disperse when the heavens glimmer. Tulips fade in winter, only to rise again in the light of spring. Deep in our souls, light becomes the eloquent expression of the inexpressible, beseeching the guardians of the dawn, moons and stars, like Christ, like Sri Krishna, even in our darkest hours. It is then that poetry soothes my turbulent waves and grieving heart, its sweet fire of words, burning the dross of my loneliness, its mystical bars, speaking to the immaculate profundity of the soul's journey. Anton Carrier, thank you.
Sometimes moonlight could be another form of emptiness. Your poems are just one phrasing of in universal truth after universal truth. I feel like sometimes when I'm listening to you, I'm reading a manual on how to navigate and how to live in this universe. Brilliant, Lanton. Brilliant.
Thank you, my brother.
Brilliant. All right. The world for one moment can just live these words. It might be a better place tomorrow. Thank you for your gifts. Thank you for your
Amos la luz. Let us be the light.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We are the light. Let it shine. Let it shine. All right. Before I call this next poet, we're approaching the last group of poets. We have Mona, Ian, Eddie, Richard S., Cheryl, and CP to come. But I'd like to call to the mic this dazzler of words, the man that spits fire, Kazi Kaz. The mic is yours, my brother.
Thank you. Thank you. Hello, everybody. I hope everybody is doing well today. Please give me a moment while I try to pick up my jaw off of the floor from that feature. Because wow, that was absolutely amazing, beyond phenomenal, like mind blowing, like for real. That was awesome, Bianca. Awesome. Okay, so as far as the piece that I will be performing, this is actually one of my absolutely favorite pieces. I have performed it a couple times, so some of you may have heard it, but as you said, Raul, don't be afraid to repeat one of your poems. So thank you for that freedom. So this one is titled The Poem That Never Was. I want to ABC the DEs of your FGs so that I can HI the JKs of your elemental Ps. Then I'll cue the RSTs of the U's inside of your V's while Wing the X's of the Y's in your Z's. Wording letters into sentences which run on paragraphs, which I might add, subtract the multiply divisions of my fractions algebraically triggered nometry. Now you can calculate the geometry of my being sorry for forgiving your apology. I'm realizing whom I've always been while being told I never was or ever will be. But you can never kill the real me. In my tree, I'm the positive skepticism of my family's nepotism defense mechanism, like plagiarism's eloquently elegant exorcism. I'm next of kin to the symphonied similes of metaphorically orchestral soliloquies, which proficiently prohibit the indubitably iniquitous indignities of my perpetually prolific proclivities, emancipating my freedom's liberties from the ramifications of their consequential repercussions, which came with no compunction, instructions, or introductions, just delusional illusions and accusatory assumptions. Meanwhile, I'm manufacturing poems to distribute through my vocal cords for mass production's mass consumptions. I'm starving hunger's famine by going ham, cheesing a Colgate smile from here to denial, which so many are in. Accusing blames guilty culpability of being at fault for liability sin. Bad decisions, escaping ghosts so as to bypass admissions of mistaken errors and blatant terrors. I'm denying plausibility's irresponsibility. Because even if I lie to you, I'm telling the truth. So pick the selection that you decided to choose. I opt to let loose so I can rockabye the clock into the truth with no hands, luring the minutes, seconds into busy intersections of wrists watching tick-tocking sands of time spans standing still, while ages of epic errors fight to acquit my absolved exonerations, which is still running up quite the bill, causing the planets to bounce off the moons of Saturn in grandma knitted quilted patterns, sometimes ripped, shredded, torn, and tattered. Ill. I sent a grievance to the spaz of the unsightly face of hysteria. It's truly repugnant, his twisted plan, one flagrant, I swear to God, really pitiful, who literally has been dropping the ball. Because see, while Eve was eating Adam's apple, Eden was nowhere to be found. Meanwhile, Jill was on the hill jumping Jack and Jehoshaphat with the pail of water she fed from the stretched depths of hell's back and beyond the ponderings of yonder's wildest imagination. So I sat there wondering, maybe I'm missing something that I missed for nothing. But I'm executing revolutionary resolutions for retribution or restitution, hence evolution's ergo, allowing my prestos, changeos to see the prestige which my abracadabras hocus to pocus. Voila. Thank you.
So voila. Like there. What do you mean voila? You're crazy, man. You're too much. You're too much. You're too much. I love your play on words. I love how this thinks. I would love to sit down and just watch you compose one of your poems and what that process would be like.
Wow.
Especially when you did the alphabet one, I was like, wow, what madness drives a man to do that? I want to understand that madness.
I was truly at one of my very lowest points in my life when I created those ABCs. And sometimes that's what it takes, you know?
Yep. That's why, you know, my invitation to people is to look at these things differently. When we talk about resiliency, where does resiliency come from? It comes from the low moments, the harshness. Shows you what you're made of. How else would you know? So that's why when I said the madness of, I meant that in a very affectionate way, because it is a madness. I sometimes shake my head and go, where did that come from? How? I know I'm thinking it, but is it really me? You know, I had the same feeling listening to BeeYonka. It's like, I know you're the one thinking it, but where the hell did that come from? Because that just seems more than human. So same thing. Same thing. The two of you should get together and do a collab. Well, you don't have to do anything, I say, but the invitation, do a collab, because I think both of your voices would be brilliant.
I would love to. I would absolutely love to.
All right, go away amongst yourself and discuss that. Both of you could discuss that. Make it happen and come back and perform it. All right. You're welcome, bro. Thank you. I know Sunday mornings are hard for you, and Sunday is probably your only day of rest for you, but I appreciate you giving us a little bit of time. So I'm honored. Thank you. Thank you. All right, from brilliance to brilliance. Talk about a poet that's really feeling it. She's an educator, but I think she's really a poet. But then again, we could be an educator and a poet and a mother and a lover, and we could be many things. But this woman is really feeling it. She's feeling being in school and her poetry, and love seeing her being featured more. Anyway, Mona, the mic is yours, my friend. The mic is yours.
Thank you, Roll. Thank you, BeeYonka. What a show, and thank you all poets. It's a wonderful thing to see the diversity of voices here today. Thank you all. I have 2 poems for today. So here it goes. The first one is called The Work. Unfinished thoughts pierce the air like leaves meet fall, golden and ready and released. I shake my head. The body follows. Tell it obliquely, never completely, say those who know not to hurry. The pile gathers behind the house. The yard clear for one moment, singular and green. Breathe in. Now filled again with golden glory, depleted, I question the ferocity of the compulsion to make it clean. The clothesline packed and ready, wildly stretched sails of a ship still long ways from safe harbor. Here, openly, I question my departures. I have arrived, I know, like the wind. Yes, how it dries us all. Deliberations folded, stacked, and put away, clean for one moment, singular and white. Breathe out. In a blink of an eye, another load. The fluttering of linens refills the autumn sky with elemental pleas. Deer have rested under my trees, their pellet trail a gift, though I don't know it as I clean. They will return just like the maple and the red oak, only much sooner, with quiet eyes and undisturbed like everything on earth I step on. And I do. Yes, I do it again. I do it all. Never completely untangled, the lines hold no weight. Those who know no haste tell it slant. Breathe in the wind. And the other poem I have for you is called Meditations on Love. Outside the kitchen window, tall pines, tall as magnolia is white. 3 eagles fly in circles, and robins too greet the day on this budding branch or another, now pecking the earth. Inside, the ginger roots are to be peeled like so, on the back of a spoon. My fingers anticipate the smell of garlic and thyme. The onions are to be chopped like so. Around me, the young ones wear goggles as if onion tears were anything different than the rest. Around me, young ones in a hurry. Things ought to get done, don't I know? Around me, the young ones in a hurry. I am in the way. I close my eyes. I don't understand what is said to me. People move in and out like haze. Memories course through my body, illuminating the times when I was met beyond the cutting board with the same blank gaze. Outside the kitchen window, tall pines, tall as magnolia is white. The eagles circle up the mountain. I hear the bells chime like the wind, the water running cold. I lean onto the windowsill. A robin looks my way. A curious brief glance. His small head bobs slightly in and out of his puffed chest. Knowingly, marvelously ochre and free. Thank you.
The pine trees are tall, as white as the magnolia. Yeah.
Magnolia is white.
Magnolias, yeah. Yeah. I love that line. I just find your poetry so descriptive. Like as soon as you start sharing, it takes me into whatever you're speaking of. Like I'm right there in the kitchen with you as you're chopping onions. I'm right there in the kitchen with you chopping onions, looking out your kitchen window and watching the pine trees. I'm just like, yeah, I just love your writing. I love your writing. Well done. Well done. How was your first semester as a student?
Awesome. Awesome.
Yeah.
I'm doing great. Thank you, Raul.
Would you, not long, but one thing that you've learned about yourself that maybe you didn't know from joining this process?
Oh, you mean my school? Yeah. I know how much I don't know.
Now that's a good thing to know. That's a good thing to know. I'm so glad you're enjoying it. So thank you. Thank you for being here. Again, thank you for your constant support. Really appreciate it. So again, I think if you don't know her, many of you probably do now, but for the few that don't, get to know her. She's also a professor, but she's also going to school for creative writing. So just another opportunity to get to know her. And if, like, again, any other show coordinators here, poet that deserves and is worthy of being featured. So thank you, Mona. All right, from brilliance to brilliance, from one professor to the other, to another. And this is the original professor. Now, it's a name I coined. I just gave it to him because I have such a great respect for teachers. Love teachers. The world needs more really great teachers. But he's also a brilliant writer. The sonnets that he writes are so rich and juicy, and it's like you just want to bite into it and hope it never stops. It's like he's brilliant. And I also call him the Velvet Voice because I just love the way when he's reciting the voice and the words and the story. It's just a beautiful marriage. So anyway, I'm going to shut up and I'm just going to simply say, Ian, the mic is yours, my friend.
I'm just now going to try and avoid falling flat on my face after that introduction.
Yeah, like you've ever done.
Thank you, Roll. Thank you. Okay, I've got 5 short ones, so I'm just going to hit into them straight away. So, first one, appropriately, when poets meet. Stand back, hold your peace. The wordsmiths have entered the scene. The arc of communication lights up, glowing all incandescent with arcane words drawn from the bottomless well of primeval memory. The air crackles with muckle static generated by silver-edged tongues, charged flowing streams of particles in luminous thought waves, warm vibrations bursting out from fricative enunciations, encasing well-buffed, rounded vowels that billow from full-seasoned lip as poets meet, fingertip to fingertip. First one. Okay, mentioned sonnet roll. This one's called Unfinished Business. It's actually a sonnet version of another slightly longer poem. It's called A Sonnet to Life in General, so unfinished business. There are moments in this passing life when the bottom seems as if it's falling out of your little world. It feels like one too many loose ends left dangling, hanging in the air, with no master mariner not tired to pull them all together. Come to save the day, too many balls to juggle, keeping them all up in the air at once. They fall in clattering heaps about your feet, while old joints grown rusty are in sore need of metaphorical lubrication to loosen up. It's just a brief hiatus, unfinished business as you plough on through the haze of endless clouds of foggy days. And another sonnet. This is from a series called Millennium Sonnets. This one's called The Age of the Emotional Vampire. I never used to consider such things as other people's quirks or dire complaints. I merely shrugged them off as the strange ramblings of mad quacks, or else sad, misguided saints. It seemed easier then to pay no heed to doom-laden naysayers, false prophets, who would sell you clemency in a deed, an indulgence for your soul, a docket to put on the debit side of the bill of tribulations I once could put aside as mere diversions, incompatible with my inner sense of truth, a mere rider as truth now takes on a varied veiled attire in this age of the emotional vampire. Okay, this one, it's called Tim Leonard is Not Dead. This is a very brief thing. This is an old friend. I used to bump into each other and meet up in Cafe Nero's, have a coffee and a chat and that and say some crazy things. I hadn't seen him for months. He told me he'd met up with an old flame. So we used to joke, oh, we think, oh, is Tim dead? Or is he still alive? We didn't know. So this is called Tim. But fortunately, I 3 days ago, I sort of walked into Cafe Nero's and he was there. Suddenly just turned up. So it's Tim Leonard is not dead. Back at Cafe Nero's, like an apparition, a familiar face at the plate glass window. No, not Marley's ghost, just an old friend, their whereabouts unknown these past months. Not one sighting. Rumours abounded. He'd met an old flame. A quickie wedding. Was that the game? But other dark thoughts crowded in. An old condition he'd mentioned. Had that finally done him in, driven him insane? But no, the truth was more prosaic, as it often is. No need for conspiracy theories. Life is complicated enough as it is. He was merely lying low, staying in, saving the pennies for a rainy day, maybe. But now I can reliably tell the world that Tim Leonard is not dead. A little older, yes. Wiser, maybe, perhaps. But it's always reassuring, even joyous, if I may be so bold to say, to meet up with an old friend once again. And finally, I'm going to end with a Christmas poem, and this is for my granddaughter, Isabel, because she's 2 next month. So anyway, so a Christmas poem for Isabel. The sparkling lights on Christmas night shine out to show that all is right with the world, and dreams do come true, just as good wishes often do. If for a moment you close your eyes, shut them tight, there may be a nice surprise waiting there for you on the other side of Christmas Eve. As Santa takes a ride over rooftops in his magic sleigh, you know something special's on its way. So just be patient, kind, and true, and all that's precious will come to you. So that's for my granddaughter. So thank you very much.
Ah, brilliant, my friend. Brilliant, my friend. The depth again, such the depth. I love it. And I hope you and your granddaughter have a really good Christmas. Really good Christmas.
Well, I'm sure she will.
Well, let's hope she does. Let's hope she does. Thank you, Ian.
Okay,
Thank you for that.
thanks.
Appreciate it. Excuse me. All right, from brilliant to brilliance. Yeah, I keep saying that because it's true. Mr. Potastic, the mic is yours.
To brilliance with great resilience. Thank you so very much. Your words really touch. Ah, you gotta love the rush. Hello, my name is Ed Potasso, feeling fantastic. Please tell me you could join my Ryan Follow Sublime. But first, thank you, Bianca. Your words as sweet as honey, yet buzzing like stingers. You're a poet, an advocate, a survivor, and a singer. When we leave, your words still linger. Thank you so much for being the sun, rain, storm, and hurricane bringer. Thank you so very much. I have three short poems, so I won't take too much time. This first one is called Drawing the Smudge. Drawing the smudge, we created by earth, the dirt of rebirth. We're our seeds, we breed, she bleeds, strained by our mud, soaked in the floods. We're flowers in her image, roots without any limits. We don't show you love, your voice is the winds above. We feel you feel your earthquakes while you painfully aches. We see your thunderstorms, your frantic cries as a newborn. We touch your hurricanes, the wails of growing pains. We drink your tsunamis, the water cleans your body. We hear you, our mother. We feel your thunder. Yes, we understand and do. Sorry to be burned to you. A mother's work is never done. Thank you for being our son. Forgive your uprooted trees. We are pieces of your humanity. Thank you. The other one's called Oh Erica. Oh, Erica, why are you in so much pain in these chains? You're not just free, but bound on your knees. People advertise your image in so many stages. It's really sad because you were never so ironclad. The final fires sing all to the slaughter. The extremists spreading hate throughout your state. The rich love to be greedy by ignoring the needy. The crooked cops love to go pop, pop, pop. The poor victims being tagged in the system. The old crimes lost in the past of new times. The wars of what the fuck are we fighting for? The pandemic that's kinda, sorta, raging havoc. The golden fools being used as mindless tools. The flash reports preaching everything but order. The social media bug hiding compassion under the rug. The worshippers of green causing the crime scenes. The innocent cages watching anarchy rages. The very machines cast away some humanity. Noisy guns seems to avoid the trial runs. The pleas of Mother Nature and blazing labor. The global warming clouds breathing so loud. The deep drills paying the bills that slowly kills. The few spoil themselves, yet don't indulge on the bookshelves. Erica, you're everything but red, white, and blue. But what the fuck have they done to you? You're not a girl of opportunity, but an old woman with bags of pity. Oh, Erica, it's not your fault for thoughts. You're only a victim of global assault. Thank you. And my last one is called Guy is Love. I'm sorry. Here it is. You possess an undefined natural organic beauty. You dance around the bright sun, an important duty. Your eyes are the great lakes covered in sparkling blue. Your tears are sweeter than strawberries, blueberries, and honeydews. Your bodies are wonderland full of sublime, wonderful delights. You give us warming sunlight to help our darkest sight. Your skin is earthly, smooth, and brown, unlike the vast deserts. You just give, give, and give till it hurts. Your children are the vivid, rooted, fluorescent trees and flowers. They stand healthy, grounded, and sturdy with unique powers. Your age is vast compared to the far reaches of dark space. I didn't say ancient. Oh wait, is there a teardrop or river flowing across your face? You're more powerful than any earthquake, tsunami, or hurricane. You burn us with our toxic fumes, endless cuttings, and rumbling pains. Your rage is a roaring, unpredictable, and screaming volcano spewing molten lava. Sometimes you create clouds, dripping, clear, refreshing, and rejuvenating Java. Your love is surreal, vivid, and deeper than our baby blue skies. You feed, nurture, and grow us, the pesky flies. Hope this poem does you justice because it's coming from a microscopic soul. Thank you for the gifts of diamonds, rubies, irons, titaniums, coppers, silvers, and golds. Thank you.
Thank you, Eddie. Thank you. Thank you for your gifts, my friend. I'll start calling you Eddie Volcano-tastic. Spewing the words, baby.
That is bombastic. I love it.
The lava flow. It will engulf you and embrace you with poetry. Love it. Love it. Well done, brother. Well done. All right. From brilliance to brilliance. Another brilliant wordsmith that loves using humor. So, Richard, the mic is yours, my friend.
Thank you. I want to thank all the wonderful poets. You've been marvelous, and our featured poet Beyonce, marvelous, my dear. You may only have been writing for a few years in this lifetime. Your soul speaks to a wisdom that goes far beyond those few meager years. So keep up the good work. Rather than be serious today, I thought I'd offer you a little dessert at the end of what has been a feast and a banquet. Thank you, Raul. So these two little pieces, in case there's any poets out there, this first one's called the editing process. The editing process, to sort through the junk to find the elegant phrase, or at least the one that doesn't lay there and stunk, to sort through each line till they're polished like gems, or at least till they're settled down and get along then as friends. Did some editorial process intercede with your scribbles, and then on its own turn up that perfect apt phrase into some kind of thin drivel? Did it capture the feeling you once hoped to convey, or did it serendipitously end up betraying, delaying, misleading, mistreating that once artistic, even mystic phrase in an elegant, prosaic, prettiest Art Deco sort of way? On a sudden reversal of rehearsal might spin and retire those Michelins whose tread is demonstrably too thin. And in the end, it turns out the particular deflatable, relatable metaphor only collapses within. And as you search for the meaning of your message again, and on some occasions the abrasions refine and can polish the ugliest phrases into the most sparklingest wine, the editing process. And then this one, a very serious piece, my political work. This is called The Uses of Humor. When it's said, or you suspect, that all your plans are gone and wrecked, and when you're sad, mad, glad, parenthetically had, or simply by something evil or not quite bad, you may stutter and stammer to when you're in a jam, do you? Reach at length for something potent like a ducal regent or a missing museum docent. Grab a hold of something rash. Now I'm not talking bags of cash, or sitting cross-legged smoking bowls of pungent Turkish hash, or some such spice that makes your pleasure soar, or roar down the gleaming canyons slick as glacier ice. I'm suggesting, even insisting, that you measure another dollop out, and when you whisper or you shout, grab yourself a hearty laugh, and sure, you'll cut your woes in half. Cut them, splice them, mince them very, drown them in a steaming cup of berry, pull their legs out, tug their hair. You might find a generous touch of merriment there. And when they've got you in a box and the holes have worn through both shoes and socks, lean right back and give a chuckle, even though it might bend your strongest buckle. All these things so tough and stringy, no more now than a pretty propeller on your beanie, or a small mustache painted over the picture of the master Don. Give yourself a hearty laugh, and sure, by the clover in your garden, you'll cut your woes in half.
You never disappoint, my brother. Never. Whether it's your humorous pieces or your serious political pieces, you never disappoint. Always grateful for your your playful way of looking at things, but it's not so playful because you use humor to hopefully get us to a place where we're open to what's being put forth. And I love how you said, is there any poets out there? Yeah, there's all of us are poets. But it's a lesson that I think we can all remember. It's, don't remove the fear and share what you want to share, but put it in a way that people can digest it. And whether they want to eat it, it's up to them. So well done. I learned lots from you, my brother. Just like yesterday, Richard, hopefully it'll become a regular thing. Spirituality and poetry, and he invited a few of us to come and share our spiritual poetry. So I'm hoping he does more. He's another man that I think everyone should get to know and have him in your corner. He's a good man with a good heart. All right, moving on from brilliance to brilliance. Like I said, it's just a hit parade of brilliant writers. This woman has been accepted in all kinds of anthologies all over the place, but then again, she is worthy of that because her writing is really good. Anyway, Cheryl, the mic is yours, my friend.
Thank you so much. BeeYonka, you really were outstanding. So I wanted to say that to you, and I want you to really understand that we think you're like amazing. So when you doubt anything in the days to come, I want you to know that you're pretty amazing. I am going to read a piece that I wrote, which is actually a contest piece. I'm not supposed to be sharing it, but because I loved Nikki Giovanni and she single-handedly made my sister and I who we are today as writers. I'm going to read this piece. It's called The Light Bearer. A slip of a woman influenced many Black writers that our words matter. She single-handedly lit the fuse. It wasn't that she was saying something new, but she spoke it how we did, in our rhythm, in our vernacular. The language was raw, in your face, without apology, and not requiring anyone's permission. She knew that we knew that she was fire. Above it all in every way. We wanted to be her. She was representation for us, strength, honor, encouraging Black writers to release our thoughts, words, and dialogue into the firmament. Set it ablaze and burn it all down if you have to. She was revolution and made us think we could be that too. Many of us listened to her words. We're sad today because part of us is missing. Look up, brother. Look up, sister. Her presence is in the air. I can see it. I can feel Nikki everywhere. Her essence is in the wind, air, and rain, the rap beats that we repeat and dance to. Nikki was our mirror, our proximity to necessary and unforgettable truths. She's in every sparkling raindrop and every new moon. Nikki's my reason to jazz loud in June. She's my reason to write and seek solace where light gathers, causing words to take flight. Nikki was the light bearer, a reflective, luminescent source of literary light. Her poetry is the rebirth and retelling of Black history, Black culture, and Black literature. I read Nikki's poems and I am reborn.
Wow. That was a beautiful tribute to Nikki, one of the brilliant voices of our times, right up there with Maya. So thank you for sharing that. Although you weren't supposed to, I'm grateful. It'll stay amongst just us, just us. Hopefully it does well for you in the contest, because it's a really good representation of the effect she had on so many, not just women, but so many. So, because I know Henry placed a really cool post on her passing, and his respect for her as a poet. So well done, Cheryl. Thank you so much. And I'm loving the your outfit today in the wrap. Loving it. So, all right. Excuse me. From brilliance to brilliance, we're at the end of the show in regards to the poets that's reciting. And there's always got to be a last poet. So I'm always grateful for people that stick it out to the end. Not just the ones waiting to recite, but for you sticking it out. Yeah, this show runs long. It's going to be 3 hours by the time we wrap it up. So what? It's an invitation for us to gather again and sit and be, and not be distracted. Well, not to be too distracted, but to sit in the moment and engage in conversation and poetry. So I applaud you all for that. And it's fitting that the host of Bottoms Up is the last poet, and he was our last month's feature that blew the roof off the building. I still get people going, did you put up the CP Mays video? I go, yeah, it's been up for a couple of weeks now. Okay, good. So I'm not kidding you, brother. So anyway, from brilliance to brilliance, the one and only CP Mays.
Hey, everybody. And they're going to say the same thing about BeeYonka's feature. I promise you, like with my
Yes, they
last
will.
dying breath. BeeYonka, you're like a goddess with a grenade pen for a fucking pen. Like, you're dangerous. Like, holy shit. Your feature was crazy. I got a poem. It's called Brainstorms Watch Me. I love the rush. Stop trying to blow out the trick candles in my opera house. Stop with the I need to stop with my stop sign smile. Stop speeding through the school zones of my childish maze. Stop road raging against self-love, saying, I'm tired of you questioning my intentions. Stop tailgating your washed up wishes with dirty dishes in karma's kitchen sink. Stop leaving all your filthy, forgive me, fucked up past dirty laundry in her washing machine mouth. Stop straight jackets and boxer briefs from keeping you from bumping your pride inside her padded walls. Stop letting fashionable straitjackets rap there. It's okay. I expected you to run away anyway. Arms around you, and stop taking your straitjacket joints into pawn shops just to see how much an honest hug is really worth. I am shitty tap water 4 seconds away from being turned into wine. I'ma choke back words chased with a shot of swallow someone else's pride. A water into wine, angry alcoholic angel picking sloppy fist fights with other religious gods. Y'all, I'm a really good reason to buy your pastors cocktails at strip clubs that specialize in all nude revelations. Let me borrow a buck beautiful. I need to pay my low self-esteem to do something better with its life. A hardly sober lifetime, screaming at the DJs, mixing on a ones and twos in heaven to play my favorite love song. My favorite love song sounds like the filaments in a flock of fireflies all being turned on at once. My favorite love song was written by Mother Mary and produced by Mary Magdalene. My favorite love song, when sung in Spanish, is entitled Hijo de Puta. My tunnel lights are sponsored by Forgotten Faces from all the women I should have loved. Curtain calling up fight or flight from exes to ex-wife to exes. Kick rocks when you exit stage right. Too much mouth to mouth in a suffocating marriage. It's why I packed up all my good breaths and left my finding solutions to drinking problems. Left my drinking problems with stronger drinking problems. Left my focus focused on I can give a fuck about what you thinking problems. Left my sanity sitting lonely, swimming slowly only from tip jar to tip jar, loving lonely, hold me closely. Left my leftover love me love handle hands, holding closed caption coping mechanisms, way too fucking tight. Please heighten sixth sense. Don't let me fall in love with someone else's Achilles heel tonight. Disobedient even in the face of death. Defiantly defiant. I don't play with the full deck. Knowing Grim Reapers by their nicknames is how I showed them signs of respect. You hijo de puta. Poem. Goddess with a grenade pen. BeeYonka, you're a goddess with a grenade pen.
If I got a grenade pen, man, what the fuck was that? That's listen, bananas. CP, you got that low rider poetry where like you just want to sit comfy and just you got that low rider flow, like you just want to sit low and you just want to.
That's that Texas chopping screwed in me. That's what that Texas music is. I think that's that Texas music.
That low rider, that's so far.
I was watching you actually do it, B, and you just kind of slid into that comfy mode. But that's what I mean. That's what I mean. It's like it doesn't take away. If anything, I sit there and I go, my God, I'm part of this community that has a voice like that. That has a voice like that. Right? But it's the same thing could be said when I listen to Doc or I listen to Ian or I listen to Principe and Eddie and Kaz and Jennifer, all of it. It's like you stand on your own. No need to sit there and go, I'm not that. I don't recite that way. I can't, nor do I want to. That's him.
Yeah, man.
So well done, as usual. Well done. Like I said, this show is approaching 3 hours, so I need to wrap it up. I know there are some people I wanted to reset. I have to keep reminding people this is not an open mic show. So when people do show up expecting to reset, because it's not an open mic, sometimes I try to accommodate, but I think I need to respect the time. It's getting a little long in the tooth. It is the last show of the year, and I appreciate everyone being here. And I can't remember who said, I think it was Richard, he called you Beyonce. No, it's BeeYonka. Beyonce would be lucky to be called BeeYonka. So that's how I look at it. I don't know. She's all right as far as I'm concerned, but I rather listen to you. So, but I appreciate what Richard was saying to you because there's truth in what he was saying. So I just wanted to clarify that, we know you're not Beyonce. You are BeeYonka. There's only one. Ladies and gentlemen, before I close off the comments, I'm just going to read one poem. I wasn't going to. I don't usually read at my own shows, but I'm going to read this one. I posted this earlier this year, and a couple of people, I guess, discovered it over the last couple of weeks, and it made me pull it out. It's a very simple poem, but it's a very powerful poem for me, so I hope you enjoy it. It's called A Hand Up, Not a Handout. It's a spark within to answer the call for those without a voice, a deep desire to connect with helping hands, inspire time and effort to assist with the struggles that go beyond the dollar. Damned if you do, you have two to offer. Damned if you don't, we're not all human. Hope in action for those on bended knees. A handout? No, I'd rather teach you to fish. Be the flame of a candle that lights 1,000 others, not a handout that dampens the soul. Offer a hand up that enables the spirit, for love is a verb that returns as joy to you. End of piece. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for another wonderful Sunday gathering, for experiencing IPC Sunday Kind of Love. And what a way to end the year with a voice that many have not heard, but they're sitting there going, I want to hear more. Thank you for honoring us today, BeeYonka, with your gift of your words, your story, your time, your love, your energy. You truly blew us away. You blew us away. Like I said, I forgot. I knew when I asked you, but I forgot because it's been a while. Well, I'm not gonna forget anytime soon. I get to look at the video when I'm putting it together this week and really enjoy it. And I hope when I post it, you will all do the same and really enjoy it. I want to thank everyone that showed up just to be here in support of BeeYonka and the other poets. Jennifer, thank you so much. You had, I think, like 5 of your friends that came in support. A couple of them indicate they may want to recite, which I always love. I love when we invite new people into our community, that they get inspired to share or they overcome whatever fears they have and go, geez, I could do that. Because that's why we do it. Because if I can do it, so can you. It's not a one trick. It's not for just one person. It's for all of us, if you choose. That's how powerful you are. Stop trying to control the thoughts that show up, because many of them just show up. Focus on the thoughts you want to put into the world. That's the power we have. Who's in charge of this? I am. So as we step into this holiday season, this Christmas season, that's supposed to be about fellowship and humanity and love and reverence to whatever God you pay homage to. Remember the God within, that voice, that essence, that feeling that runs through us all, whether you call it God, Brahma, Jehovah, I don't care. Allah, doesn't matter. For me, it's the same energy that flows through us all, that binds us, that makes us human. Just like the air that we breathe, we are right now sitting in this time through technology on the same planet, breathing the same air and not denying any one of us the air that they breathe. We cannot move forward with the same mindset that created the problems. You want to understand? Don't really understand Albert Einstein. Everyone talks about doing his definition of insanity, doing the same things over and over and expecting different results. Everyone knows that one. The other one that I pay homage to is along the same lines. The solutions we seek cannot come out of the same level of energies that created the problem. You have to be willing to think differently, to look differently, to step out of your perception, your worldview, to maybe look at things differently, to come up with different, not solutions, trade-offs, because there's no solutions, it's just trade-offs. And you can only come up with trade-offs if I sit down and listen to what you have to say and what you want, and then vice versa. And together we can then negotiate. If you don't believe me, just pay attention to life. I'm honored that you guys choose to spend a little bit of time with me on a Sunday. I invite you, if you want to see this show continue and you want it to be improved, I'm willing to accept recommendations. Put them in the Facebook group. How can we do this better? Because this does not exist without you. You guys praise me. All I did was said, I have a show. And you showed up. And you keep showing up. Not just for me, for you, for us. We don't all agree. We don't all see things the same way. But when we step into this arena, I do believe we do it with respect and reverence and acceptance of each other and each other's voice and the way they think and how they see. I may not like it, but man, I love the fact that you have the courage to share. My job is to have the courage to listen, not be judgmental. So, on behalf of Angie and Artemis, I thank you for the support. Thank you for supporting the Inspired Poetry Corner. Thank you for supporting poetry. Thank you for supporting poets. Most importantly, thank you for supporting yourself. Make it a good holiday season, whether you enjoy it or not enjoy it, whether you celebrate Christmas or not. It's a time of year. Forget all the religious stuff. It's a time of year where we come together because the religion is us. We are the religion. I am looking at gods and goddesses through this technology. Why? Because the divine I see in all eyes. I love you all. Seriously, I love you. Have a safe, joyous, gut-busting laughter filled with lots of food and hugs and love and Christmas carols and whatever else you want to do, and maybe some scotch and some eggnog. I don't care. Celebrate until we have nothing left to celebrate. Until we meet again, ladies and gentlemen, I love you all. Peace.